Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Higgledy podcast.
I'm sorry I didn't have the Chester ready because I've got my things on the wrong thing. I'm sorry. We're not gonna. I could do it. Do you want me to do it now?
He's going to be
I mean,
heartbroken that he got cut out.
I
yeah, I
mean,
mean, let's do it, man.
his father already died and got fired, so like.
Yeah, he's had a tough enough run and now he's been fired.
Okay, hold on.
At the age of 3, all that trauma.
I just feel weird looking into the camera. I don't like it.
You don't get used to it.
The Higgledy podcast.
There we go.
There it is.
That's how we intro.
Too late though. He's already got a life of drugs ahead of him now because of this.
So you may notice there is no Calum again with us today. Simply put, the wind has taken him. I can't elaborate any further, I'm afraid.
In
No.
the words of Geralt of Rivia, wind's howling.
Yeah.
So yeah, today we're gonna be doing the same old shit that we do every podcast and just talking about stuff. And one of those stuffs is gonna be Boba Fett episode 6, is it? No,
Yes.
6, wasn't it? Yeah.
If we can
Episode
call it
6.
that show anymore.
Well, yes.
I just want to share with you guys. I just tried to throw my phone onto my bed, which is a double-sized bed. So quite a large target, some would say, and it's about a foot away from my hand if I stretch out. And I tried to throw it there so that if it went off, it wouldn't, pick up on the podcast. And it hit my bedpost instead. So I apparently have about as good a name as a stormtrooper who's drunk.
At least it is not down the back of your headboard like mine was earlier today, which was very problematic for me.
Yeah.
There we go. Cool. Sorted. All the chair noises.
So,
Which makes any noises anymore. Another one did.
are we doing spoiler talk straight away or?
Boba Fett was in this episode.
He
Yeah.
was. That was pretty nice to see him.
He had a
Sure.
cameo in the Book of Boba Fett,
Yeah.
episode 6. There's not a lot we can do about spoilers, really, is it? I like the episode. I have the same issue I had with episode 5 is the same issue with episode 6, which is really enjoying the content. Feels a bit weird that it's placed where it is, but I'm really enjoying it nonetheless. And I don't think that where it's placed detracts from its enjoyment for me.
Yeah, like okay. As we said, there's not really much we can say that isn't spoilers, so spoilers.
Cool.
But yeah, like as you said, I love all the content we're getting. I think it's fantastic. Like, I think it's probably some of the best content we've got in like a little while. However,
I mean,
I'm
to be fair, that almost sounds like we've been getting not great Star Wars content. I feel like we've been consistently getting great Star Wars content since Mando.
but I mean more like this is just really good,
Sure.
you know. Like everything else has been like good, but this was just kind of like blowing it out of the water type shit,
Mm-hmm.
at least
Yeah.
in my opinion. But I just kind of wish it wasn't in the Boba Fett series, because like there are 7 episodes and there have now been 2 episodes which have literally just been about the Mandalorian, and I'm just like,
And they're easily the best.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't detract away from, well, it kind of does, because it's like, oh well, I'd rather just be watching this show, you know.
I think the thing that it's showing, and this episode, yes, this episode kind of felt like a Mandalorian episode, but it also felt like a Boba Fett episode that didn't feature a lot of Boba Fett, and it also felt like a lot of other things. And I mentioned either last week or at some point while we were talking about Book of Boba Fett that there was this rumor that all of the Star Wars live action TV shows set post Return of the Jedi are going to cross over. It turns out that's not a rumor. I did a bit of Googling and just happened upon the fact that actually, no, Kathleen Kennedy said that when when they announced a bunch of spin-offs, she went, this is going to be a big crossover event. And so I don't know why I thought it was a rumor. It's confirmed. So I feel like these last 2 episodes feel a little bit like when the Marvel Cinematic Universe goes, ooh, we gotta pump the brakes on the storytelling that we're actually doing to set up the storytelling that we're gonna do. And as much as I'm enjoying that, I really hope that Star Wars doesn't start becoming a constant cycle of hyping up the next thing, because the MCU at its worst feels like constant hyping up of the next thing rather than actually delivering a satisfying thing now. Don't think the MCU is entirely that, but it has definitely suffered from that, particularly in Phase 2. So,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't even particularly mind that, but it is literally just the fact that it's like a Book of Boba Fett show. It is a Boba Fett show, and you have dedicated 2 episodes almost entirely to Din Djarin. And if, like, I wouldn't have minded if Boba Fett was in those 2 episodes quite frequently as well, if, like, Boba was helping Din in whatever way. But he hasn't. It's literally just been Din and characters that we've seen from his series. And like, at that point there's no point in like even giving the shows different titles anymore. Might as well just make it all one massive show and just split each chapter up into the different characters.
Well, it does almost feel like that at this point, right? It almost feels like when the Clone Wars was, the earlier seasons in particular, were this anthology series jumping around these large cast of characters and the different adventures they're having around the galaxy. And it almost feels like we had a, not great, to be honest, in terms of moving the story forward, but a 4-episode arc exploring the history of Boba Fett, and now we're having a 2-episode arc of other stuff, and then we're presumably going to have a finale that joins the 2, hopefully. But like, it does kind of feel a little bit like that, which isn't a problem, I don't think, in terms of storytelling, but it does still feel weird when the show is called Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, it's easy to say that the assumption was that this would happen, but not in this show, or at least this series.
Yeah. I think, people have recommended things like, they just called it Book of the Outer Rim, or Book of Tatooine, or Book of the Bounty Hunters. That there are other smaller names that you could have done that maybe would have made it feel a little bit different. But at the end of the day, as I say, it feels weird. It doesn't feel bad, I don't think. I don't know. I've kind of settled with it. It felt off last week, but this week I was just like, okay, we're still doing this, fine, whatever.
I think it depends how it ends up for me and how I feel about it, because I'm kind of in this, like, I'm in a similar sort of mindset at the moment. I'm just a little bit worried about how they're going to go about the war, because they're hyping it up to be, like a war between syndicates and stuff, and I'm just wondering how they're going to leave this season on, because it seems very much like they're already gearing up for it, but they really don't have enough people to be going up against, like, the Pikes.
An entire criminal organization.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of feels like we're either getting a Book of Boba Fett season 2, or this is going to be resolved in Mando season 3. Which, I don't know how satisfying that's going to feel. At the same time, I think there is an element that was introduced this episode which gives me an indication as to where the next episode might be going, which could be satisfying. I guess we're in spoiler territory, so I'm just going to say what it is, but I kind of want to not steer the conversation to it just yet, but Cad Bane showed up, live action. So Cad Bane and Boba are probably going to have a showdown. People have also said Fennec Shand has history with Boba Fett from Bad Batch, and yeah, she does, but did Boba ever really interact with Cad Bane in Clone Wars? I can't actually remember. But obviously there is that cut episode that was going to be in season 7 before the show got cancelled initially, which was very prominently going to feature the two of them. So, but I don't remember if they've ever actually, because Boba Fett was kind of taken in by this group of bounty hunters in Clone Wars, but I don't remember whether Cad Bane was ever in that group really or not.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I also don't recall him having any interaction with Fennec Shand before.
In Bad Batch, they fight. She is trying to get Omega when Cad Bane has kidnapped Omega. This is a whole episode where they're like fighting for pretty much the entirety of the episode.
Oh. I just remembered. I still haven't finished Bad Batch.
Have you not?
I think I was I all this time I genuinely thought I had, and then I just remembered I think I hadn't seen the final episode.
Well, it's not
final two.
It's not even the final two. It's like about halfway. It's about the halfway point. Yeah.
Well, I don't remember Boba being in.
Not Boba, Cad Bane fighting Fennec Shand.
You said Boba a couple of times.
Did I?
That's why I was so confused.
I thought I said that Cad Bane had history with both Boba Fett and Fennec Shand.
Oh no, you said Fennec Shand has also had history with Boba. And I was like,
well, if I said that, I didn't mean to. I meant Cad Bane. Anyways.
Well, I guess you'll see in the replay, and then you can call me out on my bullshit if I'm incorrect.
I've done that before, haven't I? Privately.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, it's weird then if Boba Fett's history with Cad Bane is not something that's technically been seen. It's been seen in an animatic form, but not really. Because then would Cad Bane versus Fennec Shand be more satisfying for more viewers? But then also, you probably bring into the equation that a lot of people watching Book of Boba Fett have never seen Clone Wars or Bad Batch, in which case they've got no relationship with Cad Bane yet. So I'm not sure how satisfying of a finale villain he's going to be for a large group of people. For me, I'm going to be hype as fuck no matter what. So, but like, I think that's going to be the crux of the finale, is something to do with Cad Bane.
I think it could also be interesting if they brought in another villain alongside Cad Bane, because I think it would be cool to see both Boba and Fennec taking on Cad Bane, but maybe just to even it up a little bit, they might bring someone else in as well, just like to have a bit of 2-on-2 action.
Could just have Black Stanton betray Boba Fett for money.
Maybe, yeah, that could be the way they go. Because it's not like they've exactly decided to develop his relationship with Boba at all.
Mm. But yeah, so let's talk about what happened in this episode, though. I mean, the first major thing is the episode starts with Cobb Vanth being back. My boy. Looking very much like he's on a green screen, but my boy, looking good. And then he like tells the Pikes to get the fuck out of his territory. And then people have theorized that Cad Bane is the Pike he left go, and I'm like, why? Why are you theorizing that? That's like, was there any implication at all?
Also didn't sound anything like Cad Bane, even if he wasn't using his voice.
I don't think the Pike talked, did he?
Yeah, he did.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
He talked at like the very end.
Fair
I
enough.
can't remember what he said, but he I think he no, I can't remember what he said, but yeah, he just said one line.
Okay. But yeah, I just, even if he hadn't said a line, I don't get why people would, or like, even if he sounded like Cad Bane, it's like, why would Cad Bane be dressing up as a Pike and moving spice for the Pikes? Like, he feel like that's
fun.
Yeah, I guess.
He just likes to cosplay.
Yeah. But and then we cut to Mando arriving on undisclosed planet where Luke is setting up his Jedi temple, presumably the same planet that we see in The Last Jedi during flashbacks.
Yeah, okay, so just on that subject, I was like 98% sure that they weren't gonna have Din for the rest of the season or go into this, because I just thought, well, I mean, I guess I was just kind of naive, thinking it's a Book of Boba Fett show. They're not just gonna focus on Din for like another whole episode and go in this. They're probably gonna leave. That was probably just to set up, so we know that Din is gonna be back for the war, but we're gonna have season 3 of the Mando before then. Well, no, I was just straight up wrong.
It was a bit of a shock to see them go into that, but I'm not mad about it. It was nice to see what's going on there. I don't think they'll like conclude that story. I feel like it's more of a put a little drop in, seeing as there's no Mando this year.
In before the finale is just entirely just on
I will be
Luke's planet with
completely
Grogu.
shocked, but I suppose there is a chance.
Also, is it confirmed that we're not getting Mando season 3 this year? I kind of just assumed it'd probably be around November, because that's usually when it's released, and also when Book of Boba Fett released. But
I meant last year. I keep forgetting it's
sure.
2022.
Cool.
My sense of time's gone out the window in the last 2 years.
Fair. But yeah, I don't think it's been confirmed whether we're getting it this year or not. I would totally not be surprised if we don't. But yeah, holding out for a hero, and his name is Din. I loved some of the comedy in this episode. Like one of the memes that I saw was that I want to get to a point in life where I can be like R2-D2 and just start falling asleep when I'm done with people's shit, because that's all he did in the sequel trilogy, was sleep for the entirety of The Force Awakens, and then like just be done with people's shit throughout Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. And Din arrives, R2 escorts him, he's asking R2 a bunch of questions and R2's not answering, and then R2 arrives at temple, doesn't explain anything, just goes to sleep. I vibe with that. Respectable. Bit weird though. So Ahsoka shows up. I guess is the next thing chronologically. Din sleeps on a bench and wakes up, and Ahsoka's there, which is cool to see. But I'm not sure what her point was in this episode. I've got a theory, but I don't know. It felt a little bit. Where we left off her story in Mando season 2, it very much felt like, okay, we're moving towards the Ahsoka show that's been announced. She's going to go and find Ezra. Going to go with Sabine and find Ezra, which, if you don't know, is the setup at the very end of Rebels, is that Ezra is missing somewhere in the unknown regions. He told both Ahsoka and Sabine to find him before he went missing. And so one of the very last shots of the series is Sabine teaming up with Ahsoka to go and find Ezra.
Remind me, because obviously I didn't watch Rebels. Sabine is the Mandalorian princess or something, right?
She's not a princess, but she's of like a major family on Mandalore, and she's also the person who originally refound the Darksaber from Maul, and just gave it to Bo-Katan because she didn't want to rule. And it's been confirmed that Sabine Wren is going to be in the Ahsoka TV series, so that's very much seeming to be the entire premise of the Ahsoka TV series. And when she showed up in Mando season 2, Ahsoka said, "Where's Thrawn?" Which was like, okay, so she's definitely going after that. I kind of assumed the scene in Rebels that we see at the very end, because it is Rebels ends. Like I don't want to talk too much about spoilers for Rebels because it's not that relevant, but Rebels ends, and then there is like a epilogue sequence before the end credits that skips forward a couple of years, and that's when we see Ahsoka and Sabine teaming up. It's several years after Rebels ended, which this would probably be around about 8 years later, current Mando and Book of Boba Fett. I don't know how many years later the Rebels epilogue is, but it could be easily 8 years, in which case I kind of assume that epilogue sequence is set after the stuff that we're currently seeing with Ahsoka, just because that feels neater to me, but it's not been confirmed one way or the other. But yeah, so Mando season 2 kind of left off with Ahsoka going, I'm going to go off and do my own thing, and she's got an answer as to where Thrawn might be. And then she just shows up hanging out on Luke's planet. And I was just like, I thought you were up to quite important stuff right now, but it seems like you're just chilling. So that felt weird to me.
I don't know if they're going to fill that in or not.
I mean, I
I
really
reckon
hope that
we'll
we.
get flashbacks.
Yeah, we have to see Ahsoka and Luke meet, man. That's such a missed opportunity if they just skip over that. I know that scene's going to be hard to do because there's a lot of expectations, but come on, we need to see that. That would be such a good scene.
I would have rather they had just not done it than not show them meeting.
Fair, yeah.
Yeah. It was nice her acknowledging that that's Anakin's son, and that's a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is basically her little brother of sorts. But it felt too fan servicey without the actual
I don't know.
content behind it.
I don't know that it felt too fan servicey per se, but it did feel like Dave Filoni's been a little bit accused of, like, for want of a better term, Ahsoka has to be an every Dave Filoni project, and this was a written and directed by Dave Filoni episode. So, like,
Right.
It kind of feels like it's like, oh, Dave Filoni's helming this one entirely. Yeah, Ahsoka has to be in it. But, like, I don't think what we got from them was that fan servicey. And my theory as to why she appears in this episode is because Luke is looking for guidance as to how to be a Jedi Master, and she kind of helps him / kind of doesn't help him. She just kind of says, do what you think is right, which is not that helpful. But I think that's kind of setting stuff up, potentially. But at the moment, we don't really know quite what it's setting up. And also, it just felt a little bit weird in its placement. Because, again, it's in the middle of the Book of Boba Fett, not Mandalorian Season 3 or Ahsoka. So, yeah. I don't know.
I think, yeah, we might get some flashbacks as well, because I have a feeling maybe, Ahsoka found out that Luke was still kicking around in the universe, or was, he was.
First and foremost,
he
found out that Luke
existed.
was kicking around in the universe. Yeah.
She found out he existed, and obviously she's probably been. Again, I don't really know anything about Sabine either, so I can't really comment on any of that. But she's probably been looking for Ezra and Thrawn for a while, and isn't really getting anywhere. And maybe she thinks, well, shit, there's another Jedi out there now. Maybe he has some ideas through the Force, especially seeing as he's meant to be, like, really powerful and has, like, saved the galaxy and whatever.
I think it's also potentially noteworthy that the advice she gives to Din is go to the scrying stone or whatever it was called on Typhon and reach out in the Force and call to a Jedi, and a Jedi might answer. That's Typhon's never even been mentioned in prequels or Clone Wars. It's originally a Legends planet, as the original planet that the Jedi came from, with a rich history that I could talk your ears off for the entirety of this podcast, and I won't do. So this was its first canon appearance, as far as I'm aware. No, it appeared in a Dr. Aphra comic book, but second canon appearance, as far as I'm aware, then. And so with it never really being mentioned to Ahsoka, you could make the assumption / perception that maybe she went to Typhon because she'd heard rumors or whatever, headed to Typhon to try and use that same stone to find Ezra, and came up short, maybe because she's no longer a Jedi. So, yeah.
I am curious, though, because obviously I feel like there's the same problem that there has been with any other Jedi existing in this time period, with Ezra coming back, because okay, sure, he missed the whole Empire up, so there wasn't another Jedi really to help out, but then he comes back, and then we have the whole thing with Rey being the last Jedi again. So if Ezra comes back, what's going to happen to him?
I mean, I think the bare minimum, like, without theorizing anything else, is we know that Luke's Jedi Temple gets destroyed, and Ben and the Knights of Ren, or Kylo and the Knights of Ren at that point, I guess, kill multiple of Luke's students. I don't think Luke's dialogue mentions any other teachers, but it's entirely possible that the other Jedi kicking around were just teachers who also got killed at the same time. Like, that's the easiest answer if we don't want to dive into it in a story, is they just got killed off screen at the same time as Luke's other students.
Yeah, I think that is a possibility that a lot of fans are going to have to prepare for. I think a lot of us wouldn't like the idea of like characters that we've known in other things being killed in something like that, but I think it is a possibility.
I mean, we're probably not going to see anything close to Kylo Ren era for a while, unless it's comic books, because they have already explored it a bit in the Kylo Ren comic books. But like, if Disney is going to continue pumping out Star Wars content, eventually we're going to get to a part where if they're heading in chronological order from where Mandalorian season 1 started, they are eventually going to get there, right? Then maybe they'll jump ahead, maybe they won't, but like, they've got plenty of time to decide what they want to do with those characters. And in a way, it's kind of, I don't feel like it's that much of a problem in the same way that we knew that Obi-Wan and Yoda were the last Jedi in the original trilogy. So when they introduced all these Jedi in the prequels, it's like, well, something's got to happen to them all at some point, So it's kind of the same problem repeating itself, which is just they've just got to write an interesting way for these characters to die. So maybe after Kylo Ren becomes Kylo Ren with the Knights of Ren, they go and hunt the other Jedi in the galaxy and kind of repeat an Order 66.
See, Blay.
But yeah, it's I didn't mind her showing up in this episode, but again, if they don't give us them meeting in Ahsoka, I'm gonna be heartbroken, because that's such a good storytelling opportunity. And as Tom said, I'd rather not see them meet at all or not see them interact at all, rather than see them interact but never see them meet. That would suck.
Yeah. Honestly, I would have thought they could have done a whole show out of that, maybe. That would have been good.
I mean, the thing is with the Ahsoka show is there's quite a lot of rich stuff. Again, if they want to do a similar sort of thing to the Book of Boba Fett, where there's quite a lot of flashbacks, there is a lot of time that's been unexplored with Ahsoka between Clone Wars Season 7 and Rebels, and then her fight with Vader and her reappearance in the Rebels. I don't want to say what happens in that particularly, but it's cool shit. You guys really should watch Rebels just because of the cool shit they do toward the end of Rebels. Is so fucking cool and like just changes a lot of stuff about Star Wars, and you should fucking watch Rebels. But anyways, so I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's a reason why she's missing for several years and then shows up again at the very end of Rebels. So the Ahsoka TV show can explore all of that, and then obviously what she's doing, trying to find Thrawn. So there is a lot of rich property to mine there, which would include her meeting Luke and that whole situation. So
I'm definitely getting into the seeing as you're talking about Rebels and all that, I'm definitely getting into the theorizing here. But the thing I keep seeing is that they're going to use, apparently in Rebels there's something about a time travel thing.
That's just spoilers, man. Like, spoiler. That's like fucking cool when it happens.
Is it?
Like, yes.
I don't know.
I'm not going to say too much about it, but yes, there's sort of time travel. Sort of.
Right, okay.
Sort of not.
Is it something that could be used? I don't believe this is what they're going to do, but is it something that, as people have been saying, could be used to wipe out the sequels?
No.
Okay.
No. It's... First of all, they're not going to wipe out the sequels.
No,
if anything, this fucking episode of Book of Boba Fett very much sets up stuff for The Last Jedi, like the Temple. But without going into too much of it, the sort of time travel that is present in Star Wars is, and I've kind of said this before with our D&D campaign, for the audience, I run a D&D campaign which minorly features time travel. is that if you have a world where destiny exists and people's paths are somewhat pre-written because they have a destiny, then in theory something exists outside of time and therefore you could bounce around it. So the time travel that exists in Star Wars is sort of not time travel so much as looking at things from a fourth dimension perspective, going into the Rust
Christmas
Coal.
Carol.
No, not even that. It's just like it doesn't change anything really.
Yeah.
So I'll say one thing about the time travel that is presented in it is that at one point the character who is sort of time traveling wants to change something, and another character says, if you do that, nothing works. You won't be here anymore. It breaks everything, so you can't. You have to let everything play out exactly as it did. So you can't change things, basically.
Yeah.
You can just, I guess, view things, for want of a better term. Now, that's my personal read on it. Other people might say, oh, well, so-and-so did change something. And I'm go, well, we didn't actually see the thing. We assumed something from what we were seeing, and then later on we see him change the thing. But maybe he never changed it at all because we didn't actually see the culmination of that thing. I'm being really, really vague because I just want you guys to watch Rebels and experience it properly.
Vague in time travel.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Tom, but I didn't get a word of that.
To use a metaphor, to use a metaphor, if it was a situation where someone got run over by a car and this character time traveled, he wouldn't be able to stop that person from running over the car, being run over by the car, because part of him getting to the point where he can see it again and potentially interact with it is that person getting hit by the car. And they are told, if you stop that person from being hit by the car, nothing works. Like you can't do it, basically. You just can't. Meanwhile, there is another thing where we maybe think that someone got shot by a gun, and then actually they didn't. We just didn't. We heard the gunshot or whatever, and then actually 2 seasons or whatever later, we see the character save that person from being shot by the gun, but we never saw them actually get shot by the gun. Therefore, that's as close as I can get to it.
So that was basically how things could have always panned out. We just never really knew.
Exactly.
So that's how Han Solo pulled his head so quickly away.
Yes, a character in another realm of existence reached out for a portal and went whoop with his head, and we just didn't see it.
Didn't catch that in the edit.
Yeah.
Bad.
But yeah,
it wasn't actually Greedo saying McClunky either. It was a.
It was actually Chester.
Yeah.
But I guess the thing is, it's from a certain point of view. We never saw what happened. Therefore, when we later on see it from a different point of view, it's not necessarily any different. It might be what always happened. We just didn't see it. God, just watch Rebels, man. Anyways, we got off topic.
Don't we always?
Yes.
Yeah, so going back to Ahsoka and stuff, I still think that she is going to have some tie to Grogu and his flashbacks. I'm not really sure how they're going to tie that in, because she's obviously fucked off now, but
she fucked off last time and still came back again, so...
Well, yeah. I think maybe Luke will... I personally don't think Grogu is going to leave immediately. I think Luke will continue teaching him, and I think he'll keep looking back into his memories, and then maybe something will pop up where Luke's like, oh shit, that's kind of bad. Maybe we should inform Ahsoka because she was actually there, during that time period, and she might have a bit more of a clue of what's going on.
I've got
that's
it.
how she finds about Barriss Offee.
I've got a genius idea. Luke probes deeper into Grogu's mind, finds out about this guy, Senator Palpatine. He did Order 6. He did Order 66, and then he became Emperor Sidious. And he calls up Ahsoka, and he's like, "Yo, did you know Senator Palpatine was Emperor Sidious or Darth Sidious, and he did Order 66?" And she's just like, "Yeah, like really? You haven't worked that one out yet, Luke?" Yo, I mean, Darth Vader was my father. Really?
It's not crazy. Like somehow in the Star Wars universe, most people don't know who Luke is, even though he is a war hero. So it's not crazy to think he's just as under the rock as everyone else.
I mean, also in the original trilogy, people have forgotten what the Force was and what Jedi were, and it's been 19 years.
Yes.
So, yeah. Let's talk about Luke. Fuck me. He looks so good in this episode.
Oh, it was so much better. There was a few dodgy scenes, but that can be forgiven because it is still deep fake.
And even then, nowhere near as dodgy as Mando, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think there are some things that really helped with it as well. Like, obviously, Shimuk, which is the YouTuber, I didn't remember his name last time we brought him up on this podcast, but Shimuk did a re-deep fake of Mandalorian Season 2's Luke scene, and he kind of said, look, this is the best I could do because I'm deep faking a already deep faked scene, so all of the like stiffness of his facial expressions and whatever, that's baked in. I can't change that, but I can at least make him look more photoreal. And he got hired off of the back of that, and so I guess we knew that deep faking was going to be like a thing again, but I didn't expect to see it so soon. I also didn't expect it to look this good. Most of the time, the visuals look near flawless. I think a thing that also helps is they apparently recast a body double for Mark Hamill. So, fun fact, the second Rebel, or I guess a New Republic pilot who pulled over Din last episode, was the body double for Luke in Mando Season 2. But they've recast him to have someone who has a closer facial structure to Mark Hamill, or at least Mark Hamill in Return of the Jedi. So that helps. And then also the hair is just much more Luke hairstyle. I don't think that his one in Mando Season 2 isn't hair that Luke could have. It's just not a hairstyle that we've seen Luke have. So having it be kind of a bit longer and a bit more like his Return of the Jedi style, I think also just helped with the overall look. But
honestly, my main issue was the voice.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
And I saw a really interesting point because we've talked the problem is we record this podcast on a Monday, so it's almost a full week from when the episode came out. So we inevitably talk about it just by hanging out, and we play D&D on Wednesdays. So sometimes we've seen Book of Boba Fett, and then we go and play D&D, and it's like, how can we not talk about it when we're hanging out for another 4 hours? We talked about the voice, and we said, it sounds a bit stiff at times and a bit unemotive.
Mm-hmm.
A really interesting point I saw is that I think part of it is that we kind of, on a very subconscious, just automatic level, we read body language and how voice would change with body language. And the example I saw today on Twitter was someone pointing out that there's a scene where Ahsoka, I can't remember what Ahsoka says to him, but Ahsoka says something to him, and he kind of does this thing before he responds, and you're looking at it, and the caption made the point that you just know that his voice should be going up in pitch as he asks a question. I think it's when he says, what should I do about Grogu or whatever. You just know that the way that person should be communicating that is with a rise in the voice, but the delivery, because it's like this AI thing, is just, what should I do about Grogu? It sounds like Jeremy Renner's doing the voice acting. He's supposed to laugh out loud. I got him to promise that he would laugh out loud, and he didn't.
Oh.
He just smiled. Thank you. I told him that joke on...
You leave my boy alone.
I told him that joke on Wednesday.
I did laugh then.
Yes, you
and
did.
I did promise I would
Making fun of Jeremy is not funny. He's a good boy.
That's the guy I've been afraid of. Kingpin. Maybe they got Jeremy Renner to be AI voiced in Orca. We didn't see his mouth when he delivered that line. Maybe it was an AI dubbed line in. I don't know.
He just had like a just completely blank face as well, though.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even just his voice. It was literally just like,
this is the guy I've been worried about.
5 minutes until wrap time. Just gotta make it through, and then I get to go home. That's literally what it felt like.
But yeah. It's not bad. It does sound a lot like Mark Hamill, and there are some lines, there are some moments that sound exactly like how I imagine Mark Hamill would deliver that line. But there's also a lot that sounds just flat, and it's just a little bit off-putting. And the thing is, I think that was probably there with Mando Season 2, but people were more focused on the visuals feeling a bit off. I don't know, how do you guys feel about them doing that moving forward if they continue with so they basically like do essentially a audio version of a deep fake of a voice. So it's like analyzing how Mark Hamill sounded back in the 80s and trying to use that to create new lines.
I would rather they just get a different voice actor.
I agree.
Because it really does, like, it really took me out of it. That like there was this one specific line that he said, and I was like, oh my god, that was so bad. Like, it wasn't just something you could like, it wasn't something I could just ignore. I was thinking about that one line for like 10 minutes afterwards, because I was just like, oh, that was so bad. Like, I can't get over how bad that was. And it shouldn't take me out of the show for 10 minutes just because of a single bad voice line.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think the deep fake in Mando season 2 had the same effect on me, but it was also at the very end of the episode, so it's not distracting you as the episode goes on, I guess. But on the one hand, I would love them to cast a voice actor who can either sound like Mark Hamill, because there are plenty of great sound-alikes out there in the industry, or just someone who can just deliver a good, like the one I brought up when we talked about it earlier in the week is Matt Mercer voices Luke Skywalker in Battlefront 2. And he doesn't sound that much like Luke Skywalker. Like, if you compare the two voices, it's not like
Can't
that close.
picture him sounding like him, but I haven't heard it.
It doesn't sound bad. It's just it's not like someone doing an impression or anything. It just is a kind of vaguely Luke-esque voice, but the delivery is very Luke-esque in terms of like how he delivers his lines. It feels like Luke, even if it doesn't necessarily sound like Luke. But then the flip side of that is, I wonder whether the reason why that can work is because it's a video game, and as much as it looks very, very good, the Luke Skywalker model is still clearly a 3D video game model. And maybe if we're seeing something that looks very close to lifelike live-action Mark Hamill, not sounding like Mark Hamill, that might be a bit weird as well. So that might throw people off even more than the AI voice, or as much as the AI voice, or whatever.
Yeah.
No, I do feel like a bit of a traitor for saying that I'd prefer a different voice actor, because, like,
I mean, it's not
Mark Hamill,
but it's not Mark
He's
Hamill at the same time, because
Yeah,
I've done the
I
research.
know, but-
I did a bit of research. Apparently, he wasn't involved in voicing the character at all. Like, he was for Mando season 2, but for this, it's just them using the program to just synthesize the voice completely. They're not getting
okay.
a
In that
pass
case,
by Mark Hamill in the
fuck
first
it,
place.
just new voice actor, please.
Yeah.
Or actually just get Mark Hamill to do the lines and just work a little bit of magic to make him sound a little bit younger.
Apparently they did that for Force and Destiny, which I never watched, because that is if Clone Wars is a kids show in inverted commas, not really, and Rebels is a kids show sort of, and then Resistance is a kids show quite a lot, and then Force and Destiny apparently is like full, just like, nah, this is completely for kids, which is fine. But apparently Luke Skywalker is voiced by Mark Hamill in that, and it sounds very weird according to some people I've seen online, because it's Mark Hamill now trying to sound like he's younger, and it doesn't quite work.
Interested what that sounds like.
Yeah, I'm sure there's clips online or what have you, but
yeah,
so I don't know. On the one hand, I'm like, yeah, just go the voice actor route, but on the other hand, I probably was in the boat that said, I'll just recast someone else as Luke Skywalker if you're going to have Luke Skywalker show up again when Mando season 2 aired, and then now I'm like, you can keep on deep faking him, that's fine. So, maybe they keep on working with the technology. Maybe if some YouTuber works out a way to do the voice emphasizing a lot better and they hire him, then, yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see, because we're probably getting more Luke content moving forward.
Yeah, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
Nice to see, I suppose.
I'm definitely in agreement with Alex. It did take me out of it several times during the episode, but if they keep on improving it, then cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't mean all the time. Definitely not all the time. But, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So that do you think we're done with just Mando now?
No, not at all. Like, we've got to about halfway through the episode at this point. Do we want to talk at all about the flashback?
I mean, yeah, people have been, we've talked about this a couple of times now because we just couldn't resist. But people picked up on Barriss Offee's symbol in Grogu's flashback. For those of you that don't know, Barriss Offee was a character that originated in Clone Wars. She was a Padawan. Did she not?
She's in Attack of the Clones in the arena fight in the background.
Oh shit! I did not know that.
Fun random fact, but yeah, she has no voice lines. She's basically a Clone Wars character, but yeah, she technically appeared in Attack of the Clones first.
Okay, well, she originated. Well, I mean, it's still.
She was characterized in Clone Wars. She was given a character rather than just person with blue lightsaber and green skin.
Even Attack of the Clones, that was during the Clone Wars.
Don't try and be like
stretch.
Technically, she didn't originate during the Clone Wars because she was clearly born before the Clone Wars began because she was there when the first battle took place. So actually, she originated in the Old Republic era, but late Old Republic era, like probably 30 BBY, I guess. No, not 30 BBY. That would make her 11 in Revenge of the Sith.
I completely believe that you know more about Star Wars history than real life history.
I know quite a lot about real history. Dates, probably not, but real history I know quite a lot as well.
Okay, all right.
God, if she was 18 in Revenge of the Sith, that would make it. Hold on, doing the math. 37, I think. I'm not confident in my math. No, 37. I'm going to go with 37 final answer. And if I'm wrong, then I apologize to my mother, who's a maths teacher. Anyways, I'm going to shut up.
Well, you can explain a character because my confidence is shot.
You know what? No, Tom can explain it because I feel like I've talked too much.
I can't even remember, to be honest. It's a long time ago I watched it.
Guess we're gonna have to sit here until you come up with something then, I guess.
But while we wait for Tommy to think of that, yes, Tommy, to answer your question, this is Sneak Energy. It's a new thing that I'm trying out, and it's sugar-free energy powder that you put into a bottle, and then you fill it with water, and then you shake it, and supposedly it's more healthy for you than Red Bull and such like. So I'm giving it a go. This is the trial package. We're not sponsored by them, but we're trying to be. Anyways, got your answer yet?
No.
You could have Googled while I was doing that. What the fuck?
That would be cheating. I'm an honest man and I will not cheat. I don't know. I have no idea.
Alright, I'll give it another go then. I guess, if I have to. We'll see if I get called out on more of my bullshit. So, Barriss Offee was a character.
Isn't she pronounced O3, by the way?
No. No, it isn't. It's Offee.
Are you sure about that, bud? How confident are you in the pronunciation of her name?
I'm very confident.
Okay.
Very.
I'm just going to Google it just in case, because I don't actually know. Okay, no, there's no R in it. You're correct.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so Barriss Offee was a fellow Padawan and friend of Ahsoka's. Her master was Luminara. I actually don't know how to say this person's surname. Unduli. Who... Well, I'll get onto her in a minute anyway, but basically, and my character's being weird.
I do remember something about her now, I think.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah.
I'll let Alex continue in case I'm wrong.
I want to see whether you're right or not, so go ahead.
Didn't she go dark side?
Yes.
Yes. Was it in the last season or the season before the last season? It was a season before the last season.
Season 5, because there were 7 seasons, but one of them was...
Well, there wasn't the weird season 6. But I can't remember why.
It's a bit of a problematic reason, to be honest with you, but we'll get there probably.
So yeah, basically, she was Ahsoka's friend, and Ahsoka, was framed for trying to bomb the Jedi, and in actual fact, it turned out it was Barriss who did it.
Yeah, I knew that.
And so she got arrested, and I don't think after she was arrested, she was actually ever seen again.
Nope.
So people are speculating that maybe Barriss was the one to save Grogu, although I find that highly unlikely unless she suddenly had a change of heart and escaped from the Jedi. I mean, the escape is maybe possible because of, Order 66, maybe in, the mayhem, she managed to find a way to escape. But considering she was open to bombing all of the Jedi, it's the change of heart that I find most unlikely.
To be fair, technically, if my memory is correct, the reason why she bombed the Jedi wasn't to kill Jedi, it was to... She originally framed civilians for it, and it was to basically try and convince the Jedi that they didn't have the support of the people and that they should pull out of the war. If memory serves, it wasn't to kill anyone, I don't think. Still, her being a Darksider and whatever, because she did kill people, and she's like, the Jedi are wrong and all that stuff. But I don't think she was like actually like kill all Jedi per se.
No, she wasn't. But I mean, considering that was what she was willing to.
Yeah, but like I say, if she wasn't kill all Jedi, then maybe if she escaped, and maybe if she ended up at the temple during Order 66, and maybe if she came across a youngling, she would be like, oh, I'll save that youngling. Maybe. That's a lot of maybes, which is very stretched, therefore, but, like,
I suppose if she does save a youngling and the Jedi getting wiped out, it's not like it's going to grow up to be a Jedi, necessarily, so... It still makes sense that she would save him, but I probably won't be.
Particularly because she would have to escape from presumably the maximum security that Coruscant can provide during Order 66, not get killed during Order 66, and rescue a youngling.
Well, yeah, I mean, she wouldn't have lightsabers, so...
Yeah. So it's a big stretch, I think.
And Pete and I were talking about this, and we were kind of theorizing any other ways or people that could have saved Grogu, and we sort of discussed maybe having Luminara's backstory retconned, because according to like some book, she was on Kashyyyk when Order 66 started. However, she wasn't actually captured until later on. So we thought it would probably be easier to just retcon that and say that she was at the Jedi Temple when it all went down. She saved Grogu, and then maybe got captured. I don't know, but we also said it would be pretty cool if Barriss became a Inquisitor, and she was the one that finally executed Luminara. And also you'd have like the parallel between Ahsoka and Barriss still ongoing, because she would kind of be working under Vader.
Yeah, and so, the other thing I said specifically with that is it would be cool if she was an Inquisitor who in some way worked closely with Thrawn, because then, going back to Rebels, Ezra goes missing with Thrawn. Both of them are missing in the unknown regions together. And so you've got Ahsoka looking for Ezra. If you then had Barriss looking for Thrawn, then they're on a trajectory path to meet up again. But on the one hand, you've got Ahsoka, who's not a Jedi anymore, and on the other hand, you've got Barriss, who's kind of not an Inquisitor anymore because the Empire doesn't exist. So you've kind of got this parallel of they're both not what they were, and they're both searching for someone who maybe in some way can, I guess, redeem them in their eyes. Because again, Ahsoka kind of feels like she failed Vader, which is an interesting thing now that she's met Luke, because maybe she doesn't feel like she failed Anakin as much because she knows that Anakin redeemed himself, but she kind of feels like she abandoned him. And so potentially that's part of the driving force for her finding Ezra, as she feels like she abandoned Ezra, but if she can rescue Ezra, then she's redeemed herself. So that could also be an interesting route to take it.
Or maybe she feels guilty because like she couldn't redeem Vader, but Luke kind of did at the end. And like maybe she feels guilty because if she'd redeemed him when she had the chance, or so she thinks, then everything that happened afterwards, including Luke not having a father, might not have happened. That could be quite interesting.
Yeah, no, 100%. Because if she had succeeded, then Alderaan would still be there. Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru would still be there. Ben Kenobi might still be alive. Yeah, she might be carrying a lot of guilt, actually.
And maybe that's why she's maybe that's why she's just hanging around with Luke, because she feels that guilt and she's like trying to make up for it by maybe offering guidance, if he has any questions, whatever.
Or just watching over him and making sure he's okay. Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't thought about how much guilt she might be carrying, but it's entirely possible that she basically blames herself for everything that happens original trilogy. Yeah, fuck.
And maybe if Barriss did come back, maybe she could drag like some more of that up, especially if she did work like with Vader as an Inquisitor, although she wouldn't have known that he was actually Anakin. So
I mean, maybe she did. He has revealed his identity to a handful of people in the comic books, but not a lot. So it would be a bit weird. I also don't. It's worth noting I don't know enough about current canon Inquisitors to know whether all of them have been identified. I don't think they have, because they're all like the seventh sister, fifth sister, ninth brother, or whatever. I don't actually know the numbers. I just vaguely remember some of them. So they don't go by their actual names, and they mostly wear masks most of the time, hiding their identities. So I don't think we know all of their identities, but I can think of at least 4. No. 5. 3 in Rebels, 2 in Fallen Order. Or is there 3 in Fallen Order? I think there might be 3 in Fallen Order, but you only fight 2 of them. I don't know. Either way, I also don't know how many Inquisitors there are in total, so I don't know why I'm even trying to do the maths here. Yeah. So she could be, but also it might be that it's already been established that she isn't an Inquisitor, in which case, okay, other theory, I guess. What about the choice?
Also,
sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say. Also, if they do bring the Inquisitors in, this is a really like tenuous link, but if they bring in the Inquisitors, they could mention, the ones from Fallen Order, and then, bam, what's his face is in it?
Cal.
Cal, yeah.
I really don't want Cal to show up anytime soon. If you're gonna have Cal show up in a couple of seasons' time, I'm fine with him showing up in the Bad Batch. But the thing is, Fallen Order is set 5 years after Revenge of the Sith. I don't know when the sequel's going to be set, but presumably not like 19 years later, which would be Mandalorian sort of era. So yeah, I think if he shows up now, as cool as it would also take a lot of this tension out of the storytelling for sequels to Fallen Order, because we know that he's going to survive.
That's fair.
But yeah, if they do it, I'm not going to complain that much, but at the moment, I'm like, it's fine. Don't do that. But if he shows up in, like, as I say, Bad Batch, which is currently immediately after Revenge of the Sith, but over the next couple of seasons, it could jump forward a couple of years. That could be cool. Also, if he shows up currently in like the Mandalorian era, is it Dominic? No, not Dominic Monaghan. That's Pippin. Not Pippin. That's the other one, Mary. Who plays Cameron something? Is it Cameron Monaghan?
I think that rings a bell, yeah.
I'm going to Google it. Cameron something, I'm pretty sure now. Yeah, Cameron Monaghan. He is like 28, and Cal is supposed to be, I believe, around about 17 in Fallen Order. So he would be about 8 years older if he showed up in Book of Boba Fett or Mandalorian or whatever. So he maybe could do it with some makeup, but it would still be like he's older than he really is, sort of thing.
I don't really think that would be a problem.
Fair enough.
I think you could do alright on it. It would be weird to see him in a show, though.
what, Cal Kestis or Cameron Monaghan? Because Cameron
Well,
Monaghan
not Cameron. Like,
has been in a
it'd be very
TV show
normal to
before.
see him in a show, but Cal, yeah, it'd be very weird to see Cal on a show.
Yeah, I think it could be cool, but as I say, it's like, if you're going to do it in a TV show that's set around the same era as the games, or have the games skip forward a lot of years, which would be weird, but if you want to do that, do that. But, so what are we thinking about the choice that Luke? So Luke is not sure how to deal with Grogu, because Grogu doesn't seem to be fully committed to learning to be a Jedi. Din comes and delivers him mithril armor, light as a feather, and Luke collects it, and then he offers Grogu a choice between the Beskar armor that Din has gifted him, or Yoda's lightsaber. What are we thinking about that choice?
Yeah, I think basically what Alex said before, but my guess is that he'll go with the lightsaber, but he will end up taking the armor at some point. Whether he has to swap, whether he gets both, I don't know.
I think Luke is being an idiot, and he'll realize that he's been an idiot, and will change his mind, and then let him have both.
So you think it's him trying to do the traditional Jedi Order way of no attachment sort of thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or maybe not necessarily like no attachments. I think maybe he's just doing it like subconsciously. Like maybe, it's less about the attachments for him, but Grogu actually wanting to do the training, because obviously if he went off with Mando, he wouldn't be training as a Jedi. Like, it's two very different worlds. And I feel like maybe Luke, because he's only ever really experienced being a Jedi or a farm boy, he never really had that choice, because he was like thrust into that destiny. And so maybe he's like, well, you can only have one choice, because like it's just too much to do both, kind of thing. But I think it's very much coming off as him doing this no attachments thing, and whatever. And I think he'll just kind of realize, okay, like maybe I'm doing this for the wrong reasons, and I just kind of need to foster his growth and what he wants to do. And yeah, I think he'll come around.
So I think you hit the nail on the head there, which is that most people seem to be reading it, and I think that it is the way that the show intends you to read it, is that it is him repeating the teachings of the original Jedi, which is a lack of attachments. But I also think you're absolutely right. It could be just him actually trying to give Grogu a choice, which it might not be a judgmental test or anything. It could literally just be, you need to choose one of these two lives. I didn't get to choose it. Most of the previous Jedi didn't get to choose it because they were plucked up as children. I am giving you this choice. If you want to go back to Din, you can go back to Din. So that could be the way, in which case that feels very Luke, right? To be like, I'm going to actually come at this from a point of view of compassion and give you a choice. That does feel very Luke to me. But some people have been criticizing that element of Luke's portrayal in this show because they think that the whole no attachments thing is very anti-Luke. So
I think it's okay purely because, like, he even says his heart, he didn't feel his heart was in it, and not only does that mean he's going to be harder to train, but if he ends up regretting his life, he's basically just training another Darth Vader potentially. So perfectly fair.
I think it's a matter of Luke thinking he's doing the right thing by giving him this choice, but in actual fact, he's doing the wrong thing by giving him the choice, rather than just saying, okay, we'll make it work with both.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I think the thing that people are criticizing in particular is that, like, Luke's whole thing in the original trilogy that some people have read, I personally don't really view it this way, is that Luke should know that attachments are actually good, because the reason why he was able to redeem Vader and redeem Anakin is because of his connection to Anakin, so his attachment, and Anakin's attachment to him. And I'm like, yes, that might be the thematic element that George Lucas was going for. I'm not sure whether Luke knew that, because Luke wasn't taught the ways of the Jedi per se. Not in the same way that prequel Jedi were, because they never brought up as far as I can remember, they never brought up in the original trilogy, Obi-Wan or Yoda, that attachment was bad. They did tell him not to go after his friends, but they didn't explicitly say that attachment was bad. They just said, you're not ready, and, if they die, that's the way the Force wills it, which is kind of, I guess, the same base lesson, but not voiced in the same way. So it's entirely possible that Luke doesn't know that the lesson he was supposed to learn in the original trilogy is that attachment is actually not bad. But also, even if he does know that attachment, even if that is the lesson he learned, is that attachment isn't a bad thing, I think it's very human to have a person who doesn't know what they're doing to repeat what they have seen done before. Case in point, and Tommy might be able to attest to this, a lot of parents with their firstborn kind of do parenting the way that they were parented, unless the parenting that they received was incredibly shitty, in which case they might actively go against it. But if you don't know what you're doing, you imitate what you've seen before, right?
Completely subconsciously.
Yeah, exactly. So I think even if it is them going for the whole Luke is doing the attachment thing and he's getting it wrong, and people go, oh, Luke wouldn't get it wrong, feels very human that Luke would do it, and it's his first student. He has time to learn the lesson that he's supposed to learn. So
he's not even really a master himself, so yeah.
So I don't mind. I don't think it goes against Luke's character at all if it is the attachment thing. But I have also heard another cool theory, which I don't know if I believe, but I like it, which is that it could be that the options are actually swapped. Because Jedi are all about defense and protection, and the options that Grogu were offered was a piece of armor and a weapon.
That's interesting.
Might
I doubt
be.
it.
I too doubt
like
it.
If it was.
But it could be cool if the decision is, if Grogu chooses the armor, Luke goes, cool. You can also have the lightsaber because you've chosen correctly. You don't just want the cool weapon thing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I buy that, but I do like that as a concept. So.
Yeah. Also, this is completely off track, but I was just thinking about it, and now I really need to just discuss. So, did Leia and Han ever find out the reason that Ben turned full dark side?
I don't know if they know the whole, for the briefest moment, I ignited my lightsaber, blah, 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 blah. But Luke does say something along the lines of, I'm sorry I failed, to Leia when he's force projecting in The Last Jedi.
Because, I was just thinking about, Luke having attachments in the old films, to Leia and Han and his friends, and then I was thinking, and then even later on in the films, in the sequels, he's got his nephew there, and I thought, that's so fucking dark. He was gonna kill his nephew, and we don't even get to see Han and Leia's reaction to that. He was just gonna straight up murder their son.
But me, as the Last Jedi apologist that I am, I don't think that goes against Luke's character either. I think that that temptation is very Luke, in the sense that Luke was tempted to kill his father in a moment of rage in Return of the Jedi. And if you look at Luke as being a person who has attachment, he has dedicated the entirety of his life post Return of the Jedi to training this new order of Jedi, and he's got his friends and he's got his family and they've got peace in the galaxy, and then he sees this one person who has the potential to be the destruction of it all. Yeah, I can see that temptation being like, oh, that's everything I care about, all the things I'm attached to could be destroyed by this one person, and maybe if I act now, I don't lose it all. And that's the lesson of attachment is bad, right? And if you think about it, as much as attachment maybe is bad, maybe isn't bad, and that's a debate I'm willing to have, and prequel Jedi arguably get it too far the other way. Yoda never considered killing Anakin. Yoda definitely sensed that Anakin could have done evil shit. He senses it when they meet in Phantom Menace. He says, there's much anger in you. So, like, Yoda, who has no attachment, doesn't get tempted the same way that Luke does, who does have attachment.
I mean, I'm not even arguing that point. I was simply making the case that, holy shit, that's so insane that he was literally just going to kill his nephew.
For like a split second.
Yeah, but like for a split second, but he
Tommy has almost killed his son multiple times to save his D&D characters. So
yeah, you've got a good point there. Actually,
you should maybe explain that just so people don't think that you're actually trying to kill your son.
Oh no, what's more to add?
Okay, fine.
Probably a lot more. You probably don't want this on the internet.
In 20 years, Tommy's going to get cancelled for this now.
Yeah, very coincidentally, every time my D&D character has been in trouble, I've not been there to play the session because of having to take my son to hospital for him doing something stupid.
It's also probably worth noting that's only happened once. You're saying every time. It happened once, and we just made it a meme.
I thought it happened twice.
No, it's happened once. We've memed it before.
I'm making it worse then.
Yes.
Like I think it happened once, and then every time you just weren't at the session anymore. Like I think there was like another session where your character was in trouble again, and
you weren't there, but we made a joke.
Like,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fact
I do look after my son. I just need to actually say that.
About as good.
I haven't said that yet.
Yeah, about as good as Han and Leia looked after their son.
Yeah, I just think it's crazy. Leia's brother, Han's best mate, literally just straight up about to murder their son. And
I mean, also, Anakin basically almost kills Padme when she's pregnant with his two children. Star Wars has gone that hard before,
It's a very, very violent family.
It really is.
Do they ever establish that? I can't remember, but do they establish that they knew that Kylo had a lot of darkness in him before they sent him away with Luke?
I feel like they do.
Yeah, I feel like they do, but I don't know.
But he doesn't start getting tempted by Snoke until he's at the Jedi Academy, from my understanding.
Yeah, that I remember.
I feel like there's some dialogue referencing that he was like a Skywalker or something like that. But I don't know.
I think what it actually was Kylo was stealing Luke's blue milk, and Luke was like, "The fuck you doing, boy?" And he just appears over him with his lightsaber ignited. That's literally the only reason that he sensed darkness inside of him.
Jedi shouldn't have attachments to their favorite beverages either.
Yeah,
but
like ours, sneak. Pete.
I quite like it so far. I don't know how effective it is as a natural energy drink. I'm wondering whether like 90% of it is placebo, but I like the flavors. One of them tasted like Mango Loco, but less unhealthy for you. So
that's actually a pretty good advertisement, that.
Yeah.
I mean, it says it's less unhealthy for you because there's less sugar in it. But like,
what else do they put? Yeah, that is the thing I'm wondering. I haven't looked at the ingredients on the packets, so I don't know. But either way, I thought I'd give it a go. I don't mind it. So, sponsor us. Do you feel like if we ever get to the point where we're like decently big, we're going to have a problem where we're going to have to stop making these sorts of jokes? Because when we do a joke sponsorship for Sneak Energy will just go, well, why the fuck would we sponsor them? Because they keep on doing it for us without us paying them.
I'm just hoping they send free samples every time we do it, in which case I'll be doing it all the time. I'll never buy groceries again.
Well, you're just going to live off Sneak Energy, are you?
Sneak Energy, Snicker bars, whatever the fuck I can get.
Tommy's going to live off...
Like Snickers.
Tommy's just going to eat Sneak Energy and Dollar Shave Club and MeUndies, and that's all he's going to live off of.
Yeah.
We'll have to limit ourselves to like one free sponsor each episode. So like this episode, it would be like, Sneak, please sponsor us. That's the only time we'll ever do a Sneak sponsorship unless they pay us. And then like next week episodes, we're doing MeUndies. That's the only time we talk about MeUndies unless they sponsor us.
Yeah, exactly. And then when they do sponsor us, we just clip the bit where we're talking about the product from a previous episode and just insert that into the episode. Minimal effort possible. Cool. We done with the Luke stuff? Move on to the final bit of the episode?
Sure.
I believe so.
Cad Bane.
Hell yeah. I was so excited. I was so fucking excited. He was the one character that I wanted to see in live action.
It was possibly one of my hypest moments in Star Wars is when you cut to the sand dunes or the sand plains, I guess, and there's this like heat distortion and you just see a figure walking and you're like, is that a cowboy hat? No, there's no way that they're doing that. And then,
I literally stood up out my chair.
Yeah, and then it's like the perfect like editing for that sequence because then it cuts back to Cobb Vanth and then cuts back and he's closer and you're like, oh, that's definitely a cowboy hat, but there's still no way. And then he gets closer and you're like, oh, he does look a bit blue. And he gets closer and you're like, oh my fucking, it is. They've actually done it. And then he opens his
does look
mouth.
like Cad Bane.
Yeah, exactly. To quote Ahsoka, there's only one idiot in the, or to paraphrase, I can't remember the exact quote, but it's like something like, there's only one idiot in the galaxy who would wear a hat like that. So...
yeah, I suppose let's just get it out of the way. He looks a bit weird, but it's not bad. Like it's just because of kind of what we're used to from the series, and also there are theories that maybe because he's getting on a bit now that maybe his age has affected the blueness, and also the way that the actual actors' face and head are. It's a little bit difficult to make streamlined.
I think the biggest reason why he looks the way he does is because it's a real actor really emoting underneath prosthetics. I don't know whether there's any CGI assistance to that, maybe on the eyes or something, but like I imagine all of that mouth is a real actor doing that. Maybe they move the mouth somewhere, I don't fucking know, but like it feels like a very practical effect. And people who are going, well, we've seen Duros in live action before and they've got bigger heads, yet they also didn't emote at all. The Duros that appear in A New Hope do this.
Also, are they wearing hats?
No.
Exactly.
But
it's the hat.
but the heads are much bigger than Cad's is. But it doesn't matter. Like, first of all, those two who are in the cantina in A New Hope could be twins who have a weird malformed head shape, and most Duros wear. It isn't that because we've seen Duros in video games and such like, but it doesn't matter, I don't think, the head shape. The paleness of the blue was a little bit like, ooh, at first, like when he first reveals his full look, I'm like, and like it took me like 1 second to adjust to how he looked. But again, that could be because he's aged. It could be because maybe the darker blue just looked a bit fake compared to the paler blue. I think ultimately the thing that I come back to is that I don't think they would have cheaped out on this. Like, it's clearly a very expensive prosthetic anyways. So why the fuck would they go, oh, we're not going to bother getting the right blue? They're going to do tests to see what looks best, and they went with the option that looked best in their opinion, and I'm fine with that. Like, it looks good. And should we talk about the video?
The comparison.
Yeah. So there's, I think his name is Cinematic Captures. I'm just going to double check that one. Because I don't want to miscredit. And this guy, I respect a lot for what he's done since he released this video. Wrong chat. We talk too much on this Discord, This is one I didn't even post in. Okay, I did post. Yeah, Cinematic Captures did a Cad Bane rework Clone Wars style, which is a really cool edit. He did it within a day. To make Cad Bane look closer to what he looked like in Clone Wars. He's got a thinner face, it's darker blue, the mouth's a little bit lower down. The nose is a little bit more pronounced. It looks really cool. I don't think it necessarily looks better. Some people are going to prefer it because it does look more like the Clone Wars, but I don't think it necessarily looks better. And I also think, admittedly, it's a day of work and on a presumably very low budget, if not no budget. But it does look a little bit more fake and a little bit more CGI than the version we got in the actual episode. So
yeah, I mean, I personally prefer it just because it is kind of the Cad Bane that I, know and love. But at the same time, I'm also not gonna whinge and complain that that isn't what we got, because I'm perfectly content with what we got anyway.
yeah, and also respect to cinematic captures, because he said when he released the video that he just did it for fun. He just did it as like a fun little experiment to test his own like skills. And unfortunately for him, Screen Rant, the great website that Screen Rant is, posted an article basically saying that he fixed Cad Bane, and then this guy got just a bunch of shit on the internet from very toxic fans on both sides. Some saying that he did fix it and that, Book of Boba Fett's shit and all that, and other people saying, nah, the fucking cheek to even try and rework it, fuck cinematic captures. The dude seems super chill. I don't actually know whether it's a dude, so the person seems super chill, and yeah, respect to that. But yeah, I think it's a cool little experiment, but I loved the live action version. And I think the more I've watched the live action version, the more I've grown to like it, because he seems, more so than the rework, you just get a very menacing feel from the live action version. There's just something very, like, the way he says Boba Fett with his facial movement is just pure menace, and I love it.
Yeah, it is. It took me by surprise how good it actually was, because I thought for sure if he was gonna come into it, he was probably just gonna have kind of like a shitty little introduction, and he'd just kind of come into it as one of many bounty hunters. And I didn't think, I mean, simply put, he definitely has main villain vibes.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, even if he doesn't turn out to be the main villain,
If
he
he's
definitely has those vibes.
if he's not the main villain of the next episode, and Book of Boba Fett gets a season 2, or this story gets continued in Mandalorian season 3, he is 100% being a main villain moving forward in something. I really hope they don't just kill him off next episode, which I'm slightly worried they will do, and we'll get to that, I guess. But like, yes, he 100% oozes main villain in this scene.
Yeah, and yeah, as you said, just the way he said everything, like, just it was like, it was perfect for me, really.
So-
And I'm so excited to see what they actually do with him. As you said, I really hope they don't just kill him off
Yeah.
like really quickly, because he deserves more than that.
So potentially spoilers for Bad Batch for Alex, since he apparently doesn't remember the Fennec Shand versus Cad Bane episode, so he might
No,
not.
I remember that now.
Oh, okay.
But I thought I remember that happening. What I didn't remember happening was Boba Fett fighting Cad Bane.
Cool. So one thing, it's a very subtle thing. So I think we've alluded to this before, but Clone Wars, before it got cancelled, when Disney bought Star Wars, was going to make a season 7, and there's a bunch of like animatics from what they had planned and storyboards from what they had planned. And one of the things that they've shown is a clip from an episode, from an arc that was going to be about Boba Fett and the bounty hunters that he was hanging out with doing some job that eventually culminated in him having a standoff with Cad Bane, during which they shoot each other in the head, both of them, and that's how Boba gets his dent in his helmet. Whether that's canon or not is dubious, because that episode never aired. They never reworked into Clone Wars Season 7. Maybe we'll see it in Bad Batch, but I don't think we will. The design of that sequence is almost perfectly copied in terms of like shot for shot with Cad Bane versus Hunter in Bad Batch, except for Cad Bane doesn't get shot in that scene. But when Cad Bane shows up in Bad Batch, he now has a plate in his head, a metal plate in his head, roughly where he gets shot by Boba in that animatic. So the theory is that although that episode was not released and may never be released, that sequence of events still happened. Which tends to be the case with stuff that got cut from Clone Wars. Maybe not that tends to be the case, but it tends to be the vibe that people get because Clone Wars Season 7 consists of 2 story arcs that we saw in animatic form already, the Bad Batch arc and the Ahsoka living her life in Coruscant arc. So it's probably canon, but it's not completely confirmed. That being said, the way that, and as I say, I don't remember Cad Bane ever really interacting with Boba Fett in Clone Wars. The way that he talks about Boba Fett and the venom that he says Boba Fett makes me think that that 100% happened. And I really like the idea that if Duros' lifespan is correct from Legends, of which a 70-year-old Duros is fucking ancient, then I really like the idea that this is Cad Bane, the best bounty hunter in the galaxy who retired, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, coming out of retirement because he heard that not only did Boba Fett die, Boba Fett came back from the fucking dead and started a criminal empire, and he's like, not on my fucking watch. If he says something like to the Pikes, I'll do this for free, I'm gonna be like, oh my god, that's such a cool,
cool. Yeah, that would be cool.
And so then there's been a theory, which is that we've had flashbacks in every single episode of Book of Boba Fett. Most of it has been in episodes 1 through 4, which were major, majority of the episodes were flashbacks. But we do see the Night of 1,000 Tears in episode 5, and we see Order 66 in episode 6. So maybe, if we're going to get a flashback in episode 7, we might see a live-action version of Cad Bane versus Boba Fett from the cut animatic. In which case, we might get, I can't remember his name, is it Daniel Luna, I think his name might be? The guy who...
That sounds familiar.
The guy who originally portrayed Boba Fett in Attack of the Clones, so not originally portrayed, you know what I mean? That would be really, really cool. No, it's not Daniel Luna. I'm going to Google it. Daniel Logan. So we might get Daniel Logan... probably completely in helmet the whole time, but Daniel Logan voicing a young Boba Fett in a flashback sequence, which would be really, really cool. I'd be really down for that. But that also brings people to theorize that potentially that means we're going to get a just Cad Bane getting killed off by Boba Fett as the finale for this series, which I really fucking hope they don't do, because if he sticks around, he can be a really good villain moving forward.
Yeah, I'm fine with Boba being the one to kill him, but not yet.
Yeah, not yet. Particularly because if you haven't watched Clone Wars and you haven't seen Bad Batch,
exactly.
You basically have no exposure to this character yet, so he shows up, he's super menacing, and then gets killed off one episode later. That would be really unsatisfying, I think, for people who don't
massive injustice.
Yeah.
Especially seeing as we hadn't even seen him interact with Boba Fett yet.
Yeah.
Like, imagine he just shows up at, Boba Fett's place and he's like, I'm gonna kill you. And then Boba Fett just, one-shots him. Just whips out his blaster and just bam, that's it.
Like a bantha, bang.
Had been done. They don't even exchange they don't even have a whole conversation between them. It's literally just one line and he's dead.
No, I've got the perfect end for it. Boba and his group go to face off against the Pikes and their group somewhere in the Dune Sea. They're both on sail barges. Boba Fett and Cad Bane both walk out onto the planks on opposing sail barges. They say some lines to each other, then they do a quick draw. Both shoot each other. Cad Bane staggers back, but he's alive. Boba Fett gets hit in his jetpack, gets sent flying into the side of Cad Bane's sail barge, falls into another Sarlacc pit. Season 2, he has to rise again, go after Cad Bane. I'm pretty sure in Legends, Boba Fett did fall into the Sarlacc pit multiple times, so you know what? It's like poetry. It rhymes, you know?
That would be funny.
But yeah, no, I think I'm excited to see what happens next. But part of me is like, oh, please don't kill off Cad Bane. Also, please don't kill off Cobb Vanth. I don't think he's dead at all. But if they just start the next episode with Cobb Vanth's funeral, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, fuck that.
My beautiful boy.
I was honestly happier to see him than Cad, I think. I just I love him.
I love him, but nah.
I know that's going to be controversial, but I do love him.
Let's just agree that whole fucking scene from the moment Din leaves, not that when Din was there it was bad, but the moment that Din leaves and you hear the kind of wind going through the wind chimes and stuff, that from that moment to the end of the episode is just pure fucking cinema. It's just perfection. I loved every moment of it. And I've rewatched it so many times and I can't find, again, other than the initial, like, oh, that's not quite what I imagined Cad Bane looking like live action, but as soon as you get used to it, yeah, perfection.
Yeah. And it's just tense seeing two very
characters you
capable gunners standing off with each other, and you love them both, and you know it's quite possible one of them could die.
See, the thing is, as much as they're both fully competent, and you're absolutely right, at the same time, as soon as I saw Cad Bane walk up, I was like, they better not kill off Cobb Vanth, because I was like, there's no, like, he's a great gunman, but there's no way he's going up against Cad Bane and winning. Like, there's just no way.
Cad Bane is the gunslinger.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He's got the hat to prove it, so yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the southern drawl.
Although there has been another theory, which is that maybe Cobb Vanth will be the person to kill Cad Bane, and then he takes the hat just to complete his full cowboy look and voice.
I love that.
Also, with Fennec Shand having a history with Cad Bane, Boba Fett having a history with Cad Bane, and now Cobb Vanth having a history with Cad Bane, maybe it's just going to end a bit like The Boys, where it's just them all just stomping on Cad Bane's body. And then it just cuts to Din, he just goes, oh, girls really do get it done. For no reason.
And then Omega just comes in, just out of nowhere. She's not been
Suplexes
seen
him.
in the series or in live action at all. She just comes in out of nowhere, so stamping on him. And she's
Hits on
like, yeah,
Starts
fuck you,
eating
little
him.
lady.
And it's Tamara Morrison just in a blonde wig playing.
Yeah. With no makeup or
No.
anything. It's literally just him.
And you got the geriatric Bad Batch in the background just go, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens next. But I'll be lying if I'm like, I think kind of what you said very early on in this segment, Alex, is that it's like, it's seeing how it all concludes as to how satisfied I am with the show overall. As much as I really enjoyed these past 2 episodes, if the show doesn't end in a satisfying way, part of that is going to feel like it's because we had these 2 episodes knock it all off kilter a little bit. So, But we'll see. I have no real reason to have a bad feeling about this, other than that's just a very Star Wars feeling to have. Anything more on Book of Boba Fett? We've gone for an hour and a half.
Probably leave it there then, to be safe.
Yeah.
Cool. Shall we talk about other stuff? And we might have time for Witcher this week.
Maybe. Depends. Well, it depends, because we're talking about having shorter episodes again, so...
True, but Witcher's always going to be that like thing just hanging in the background, making it an episode long one day. Like, it's never going to be a short... Unless we've literally got nothing to talk about one week and then we do The Witcher, it's always going to make an episode long, so...
Well, as I said, unless we just do a roll for insight or something.
That is
Or
up to
just
you, buddy. It's your baby.
I reckon we should just
How
do
dare you?
a separate video.
Fucking coming in here, stealing my Witcher thing.
I mean, you
keep calling it your baby.
don't have big passionate thoughts about it. It doesn't seem like you're pretty chill about stuff. You're just like, oh, I don't particularly like the TV show. That's kind of your whole thing.
Yeah.
You've not gone on a rant about it once in the podcast.
That's because I've avoided watching the TV show.
Well, there you
I
go.
don't want to do it to myself.
I mean, I've got thoughts about the TV show, but also we delay it long enough, then I might read the books as well, because I'm about a quarter of the way through Expanse, Leviathan Falls, I think is the 9th book. Yes, Leviathan Falls. So,
Hopefully I'll have my flat soon and I'll have my Witcher books back and I can get back on form.
I mean, there's nothing to stop you. What is stopping you from just getting your books now?
Because they're in a lockup somewhere.
and he doesn't know where. That's going to be his first major arc, is hunting down the people who took his Witcher books.
Yeah. The people. The little storage gremlins who have hidden off in a corner somewhere with them.
The furry and that one lady who I can't remember the name of has had sex with them before. Is her name Pel?
Oh, right.
I feel like her name's Pel.
Can't
I
remember.
want to say it's Pel Toro. It's not Pel Toro unless I've spelled it wrong. Apparently,
All I know is
Toro was the gunslinger in that one not particularly great episode of The Mandalorian.
Oh.
I can't find her name. Whatever. Cool. Pelimoto. There we go. What else do we want to talk about then? Do we have anything to say about the Lord of the Rings Rings of Power character posters?
I mean, I'm well, sounds basically like a Ringwraith origin story, doesn't it? Which is pretty cool.
The Rings of Power in general, but yeah, probably including the Ringwraiths. And one of the character posters does look like a Ringwraith / Sauron / I can't remember Sauron's Dark Lord that he served under his name. All I'll say on it is, so basically it's just a bunch, it's loads, like almost 30, I think, posters of just different characters' hands holding different objects that are to do with their character. It's very teasery. I feel like it's stuff that if you know loads about the Silmarillion, you're going to like decode a lot from it. But if you don't know a lot, it's just weird. But what I do think is cool, and it doesn't necessarily mean the show's going to be good, but what I do think is cool is that all of the marketing so far for this show, which is not really like proper marketing yet because there's no like trailer or anything, but like the teaser image they put out, the title reveal they put out, and now this, it all feels like it's very tailored to hardcore Tolkien fans, and I like that. I like the fact that that's
totally
cool.
on board with that.
So, yeah. But that's kind of what I have to say about it, because I haven't read the Silmarillion. I tried. It's like a history textbook.
Yeah.
Says the person who apparently knows more about Star Wars history than real world history.
It's not anything to be ashamed of, buddy.
The Peloponnesian War took place at some time 400 BC.
I mean, I don't know enough about history to back that up.
I mean, I know I'm right. I just don't remember when it started or when it ended. I just know it was sometime in between
somewhere
500 BC and 400 BC. So that century. 430 something, I think. 400. Did I get it right? What did you say?
Huh?
You said something just then. I thought you said 430s.
I said I don't even know what that is.
Oh, I misheard you. I was saying I think it was the 430s, and I thought him say 30s. I was like, oh my god, did he just Google it and I got it right?
No.
Peloponnesian War was Greece fighting the Persian invasion. It's the story of the 300 is part of the Peloponnesian War. No, it's
Probably
not.
Could have given you a clue for that one.
No, it's not. I'm fibbing. It's the war that now I'm questioning myself. I think it's actually the war that preludes the Persian invasion, which is between Athens and Sparta, and then like a decade or so later the Persians invade. I don't know. I studied ancient history once in college and I got a D. Leave me alone because I couldn't remember the dates.
I thought you were right with the Spartans in Persia, to be honest.
It was the war that took place in the Peloponnesian Sea, which is where Greece is. So it was a war featuring Greece and maybe some other countries, but definitely Greece.
Madness.
You know what? Just in case you are watching this video right now, this podcast, and you are studying ancient history and you want to do well in your essay, I'm going to Google it for you.
Or just don't watch the podcast and go study.
Peloponnesian War started in 431 BC, so I was very close with the start date, and lasted until 404 BC, and was fought between the Delian League, which is led by Athens, and the Peloponnesian League, which is led by Sparta. So I was right the second time, but not the first time when I said it was the fight between Greece and Persia. Anyways, cool. Okay.
Now introducing history to this podcast alongside
politics and religion
and politics.
And the stock market.
And the stock market.
Yep.
Dakota Johnson has been cast as Madam Web in Sony's Madam Web film.
So weird.
So
Very
weird.
weird.
As I posted a little bit later, I do see the vision now with that one tweet, which was her from 50 Shades of Grey alongside a shot of Madam Web also wearing a blindfold. But admittedly, I don't know enough about Madam Web. I've never read a comic that's about her. I've only seen her in Spider-Man comics, but I don't know whether it's worth making a film about her.
I mean, she's a pretty important character when it comes to, you know, all the spider people meeting each other and everything, and like she kind of orchestrates a lot of, you know, the shit that happens between them. But yeah, I agree. Like, I feel like it would be more worth putting her in. I think what they're doing is they wanted to make, you know, Into the Spider-Verse and, you know, all the multiverse stuff with Spider-Man No Way Home. And I feel like they did all that. And then they were like, oh shit, we never got Madam Web in there anywhere. And now they're like, fuck it, let's just, you know, make our own thing.
Yeah.
Which I just don't really care about that much. Although it could just be a way of introducing other spider people. But then why title it after her?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know if she's ever had her own comic run or whether she's just been a character that appears in other stories. But either way, weird. The weirdest thing is that Madam Web is traditionally a ancient, decrepit ballsack of a woman. And Dakota Johnson...
Pete knows how to talk to the ladies, by the way.
I'm just saying she's very wrinkly. And Dakota Johnson is not that.
That's how he talks to his grandparents.
My grandparents are dead, Tommy.
God, well, it's even worse to say that then, isn't it?
Obi-Wan Kenobi will release on Disney Plus in May 2022. 3 months away. I'm gonna bet probably
is that
first...
actually confirmed now, or is that just the thing about the guy saying that?
Confirmed by THR,
cool.
Which is a pretty reputable source. The Hollywood Reporter, for people who don't know the acronym. My bet would be May 4th for the first episode, because it's Star Wars Day. That just makes sense. So, yeah, that's cool. No trailer yet, but that's cool. GTA6 confirmed in news that surprised no one.
Wait, that's confirmed now? Was that actually...
Yes,
that's always been confirmed, apparently.
Yeah, Rockstar confirmed that they are officially working on it and it's well underway. So I guess the confirmation is that it's closer rather than further. Like, it's not it's not a thing that they're like, oh, we'll get to that eventually. It's like, no, they're fully working on it at the moment. But like,
no trailer or anything, though.
No. And like I said, like the headline that it's been confirmed that it exists, well, there was no way it wasn't going to exist. Like, that would be insanity. Yeah. So, like, yeah.
I am curious, though, how people are going to react to it, or mainly, you know, GTA 5 players. And when I say GTA 5 players, I mean people that literally have like no life that game since its release. Because I feel like there actually are quite a lot of people like that, or at least people that go back to the game quite frequently. And they've added so much content into that game, especially quite a lot of paid for content and, you know, stuff that people are grinded for and everything. I'm just wondering how many people are actually going to bother migrating over to GTA 6.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they've put so much time into GTA 5. I feel like a lot of people might not be bothered about a new game.
I mean, I think regardless it will sell well because the single player campaign is also what people get GTA for. Like, it's not just the multiplayer, but when you think about GTA 5's massive success, it has been mostly the online content, as you say, paid for content, people buying shark cards and all that stuff, but also just like it just keeps bringing people back for more. And a lot of the new heists and whatever have always been like, you need to grind for them, and the easiest way to grind for them is just to pay real money. So, you know, that has been a massive success for them, and they are, of course, going to try and replicate it. And I'm really worried that Tommy's laptop is about to fall. As you leant to do whatever you just did, like your camera was going.
That's just my airbed going.
It was a bit like your camera became the Titanic briefly, but yeah. So yeah, I think you're right. It's like, you know, they're obviously going to try and replicate that, but as you say, will people who are playing GTA Online care about going over to GTA 6 Online, at least until it has a comparable level of content?
Which is
a long time.
Hard to do.
And also, like, presumably they can't just go, because this is something that people did talk about ages ago. It's like, oh, well, they call GTA 5 Online GTA Online, so maybe it's a thing where like GTA 6 Online will just be a continuation of that. I feel like they can't really do that now, because even if it's because it's been so long, like, even with it being a new city and whatever, what, you're gonna let me have my Batmobile immediately? You're gonna let the people who have the airstrikes have it immediately as soon as GTA 6 Online releases? That's crazy talk.
Let alone the immense amount of work that would take.
Well, that too, yeah. So yeah, I think it will sell well, but yeah, I do think it's interesting to consider how many people are going to jump straight away to GTA 6 Online. I also think, obviously, I've been watching a lot of it recently. It's very popular on Twitch at the moment. GTA RP, the no pixel server, they're presumably not going to bother porting that over to GTA 6 anytime soon, because how much work has gone into making it work in GTA 5. So yeah, I think GTA 5 Online's lifespan is going to last a very long time post GTA 6's release, but that doesn't mean that GTA 6 won't do well.
I mean, there is also the possibility of following suit of another gaming franchise which has recently done something similar, Call of Duty with Warzone. They could potentially just say, oh, actually, we're not even going to bother having a GTA 6 Online, and then they just make GTA Online a separate thing completely, and just continue updating that as its own entity. Maybe even upgrade, you know. I think the difficult thing is, like, people would rather have like upgraded graphics and stuff, and they wouldn't be able to do that really if they, you know, did just continue with the GTA Online that's already out and about.
Well, didn't GTA 5 come out, I want to say, during the 360 era, right?
Yeah.
And has
The
lived
end of the 360.
across 2 new generations of consoles. So, assuming GTA 6 comes out in a couple of years' time at the tail end of PS5 and Xbox Series X's lifespan, it's also going to probably be being made for the next generation, or they'll remaster it for the next generation, at which point it's going to stretch over 4 generations of consoles. If they just did GTA Online like that, that would be... Because you can, I believe, still play GTA Online on an Xbox 360. I don't know anyone who would be doing that unless they literally have no other console.
It's a very dumbed-down version, but I think you can.
Yeah.
Might have been closed down.
Maybe at this point, but still.
But
like,
it came out 17th September 2013, and if I remember rightly, the online came out 2 weeks after.
Yeah, and then I think a year later was when PS4 and Xbox One came out, but...
Yeah.
You know, so... Yeah, I don't know.
Or PC came out, I think, maybe a year later.
Well, the PC release came out a year later, but I think those consoles released a year later, and then they worked on the remastered versions for those games. But I think, if memory serves, I think it was the console version, a year later PC version, and at some point after the PC version was the PS4 and Xbox One version. But I think the consoles released around about a year after GTA 5 did. So maybe 2 years, but... So yeah, I mean, you could be right, Alex, but it's just like at that point, like that's got to be fucking hard. Like, you know, look at something like Cyberpunk, which really struggled to make its game run on PS4 and PS5 and Xbox One and Xbox Series X and PC, and like then add an extra generation of consoles onto that, and then add an extra generation of consoles onto that for the year later when the next generation comes out. That's like, yeah.
I mean, to be completely honest, I feel like they could maybe get GTA 6 online up to date with GTA 5 online relatively quickly, because I mean they have the code, and as long as they just kind of like replicate and tweak the code and put it in the different engine that they're using, they have all the ideas there, is what I'm saying. It probably wouldn't be difficult for them to just pluck the ideas from GTA 5 and be like, okay, just stick them in this new one.
I guess, but at the same time, you think about how different the gameplay is from GTA 4 to GTA 5, and I believe that's the same engine, but just, tweaked. Presumably GTA 6 will hopefully have in some way better gameplay than GTA 5, maybe more realistic physics, maybe more motor control of your characters, because that's one of the biggest complaints about GTA 5 is it's fucking impossible to control your character in a small way. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a momentous task if they wanted to port everything over. Doesn't mean they can't do it. But yeah, I don't know. It will be interesting to see. Maybe they just, as you say, maybe they just go, fuck it, we're not going to bother with GTA 6 online for when we release the game, and maybe they then work on that as almost a GTA 6.5 is the online release, going, well, GTA 6 has a story mode, you can enjoy GTA 5 online, and we'll continue updating that, but in the meantime, we'll develop GTA 6's online mode, and then release that when it's at the best it can be, sort of thing. I don't know. Do you remember how Cyberpunk's supposed to have an online mode, by the way? That's maybe still coming at some point.
Well, they were originally planning on releasing it like a year later, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, I don't think that's coming anymore, to be honest.
I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't come at all, or comes in several years' time. But it's just suddenly occurred to me when I was talking about
Yeah, I did forget about that.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. I'd have been up for that.
Yeah, me too. Even if it wasn't
played through it again.
Even if it wasn't like full multiplayer and was just like you and a couple of friends, that'd still be fun, I think.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, that'd have been fine.
Yeah. And finally, I haven't posted this in the Discord, but this was announced today. Little bit strange news. Cassian Andor's TV series, Andor, has had a season 2 confirmed.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
that good, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is like presumably that bodes well for the series, but also like I haven't even seen a trailer for the first one yet. Like I don't know when it's supposed to be coming out, so it's a bit weird to announce that now. You could greenlight it privately but not publicly announce it. It's not a bad thing. I'm just like, does that mean that the season 1's coming out this year or something?
One would presume, I guess.
Yeah.
Nice.
That is mildly the one that I'm like very hyped for, to be honest with you, because I really liked his character in Rogue One, and I really like that darker side of the rebellion that I'm hoping they're going to steer into. But yeah, we'll see.
I can't even remember what's coming out anymore.
Kenobi, Andor, Star Wars Acolyte, which is going to be the High Republic TV show, Lando, which is going to be Donald Glover returning as Lando Calrissian for a live-action TV show.
That would be pretty sick, actually.
Which, if you're going to do that, Disney, please give us a solo TV series or a Solo 2. I loved Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo, which I know is blasphemy to some people. I don't think it was Harrison Ford's Han Solo, but it was Han Solo. I love that movie. I would love to see more of it. If you're doing Lando, then why not do that? Or have Alden Ehrenreich at least reprise his role in Lando. So yeah, Acolyte, Andor, Kenobi, Lando, and then you've got Ahsoka, and then it hasn't been cancelled yet, Rangers of the New Republic, but that one's, there's a lot of rumors going about as to whether it will be cancelled or not, because the rumor when it was announced was that it was going to be with Cara Dune, Gina Carano's character, front and center, and she was fairly and unceremoniously booted from the Star Wars universe for her controversial political views, and so people are like, oh well, if she's been booted, are they going to continue the show? I don't see why they can't with a different character, but it potentially means that shows we haven't heard anything about it since then, so maybe it has been cancelled and they're just not publicly announcing it or something. And I think that's all the TV projects at the moment. Bad Batch Season 2. Yeah, I think that's all the TV projects. There's also a Rogue Squadron movie being made. And there's the Taika Waititi movie being made. And technically Rian Johnson's trilogy hasn't been cancelled, but similar situation to the...
I thought it did.
No, it's never been officially cancelled. It's just rumours abound after the reception of The Last Jedi and the fact that there's been no news about it. But Disney have not come out and said we're no longer moving forward with that. The David Benioff and D.B. West's Star Wars film has been cancelled, though. That one was confirmed.
Oh, thank
That's
God.
the one I'm thinking of, yeah.
Yeah. But like with the Rian Johnson trilogy, there's just been like zero word whatsoever. So
I think that's so funny. I mean, I think it's funny, but also it still just hurts me deeply. The fact that D&D decided they were just going to completely rush the final season of Game of Thrones for the Star Wars project, and then they just cancel it. I think that's hilarious, but also fuck them.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, so I think that's everything that I can think of. Mandalorian Season 3, obviously. Yeah. Maybe a Star Wars Vision Season 2. I'd personally love to see that. Because I really enjoyed Visions as a project. I didn't enjoy every episode that much, but I think it had something for everyone, and that was cool.
I still haven't finished that. I completely forgot, to be honest. I'm glad you said that. I'll
Dude,
finish that.
Did you ever see The Ninth Jedi? That's like halfway through the season.
I think the last one I watched was the one I said I didn't like very much.
Well, the twins
With the
or whatever.
giant lightsaber.
Yeah. So I think Ninth Jedi's after that. Ninth Jedi is amazing. And also the final episode of the series, which I think is called Akuma. Not Akuma, that's not right. Akiri. Akiri is, or Akakiri, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, is fucking phenomenal. And there's one other one that I can't remember the name of that is amazing as well. There are 3 post that point that I loved. Also worth noting, there is a rumor that Disney invested in their own anime studio last year, post Star Wars Visions. So there is a theory that potentially some of those shorts got such a positive reception that they went, okay, we want to expand on that, and potentially are bringing in some of the talent that worked on those shorts to develop a series, in which case maybe it'll be one, maybe it'll be multiple. Will it be canon? Who knows? But that's an interesting concept as well.
I could see them making that band episode into a kids show or something.
if you're going to expand on any of them, I really like Night of Jedi. I think has the richest story potential to do a full series out of personally. But Akakiri is also phenomenal. But I'm not sure. I feel like it's perfect as a short, and I kind of don't want to see any more of it. But if they did more of it, I wouldn't complain.
I know they wrote an actual manga of Ronin, but I would like to see that animated more.
Yeah.
And also, I know not a lot of people liked it, but I really liked the twins episode.
That's the one that he didn't like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I just thought it gave me very big anime feels.
Had there been more build up to it, I probably would have liked it more. But it just kind of got tossed out there, and there wasn't really any attachment to the characters yet. So.
But I think that's the brilliance of Visions, right? Is that I personally am not a huge anime fan, so that episode did nothing for me. I didn't hate it, but it did nothing for me. But for someone who is a big anime fan, that's potentially their favorite episode from the series, and that's kind of awesome.
Yeah,
that there's it's peak Star Wars in the sense that there is something to love for everyone. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, the thing with me in anime is most of the time I hate dialogue. I like the whole reason that I never liked anime before I actually watched Attack on Titan for the first time and actually kind of got into it, and then One Punch Man and everything, is because the dialogue is usually just so fucking terrible. like they just get overexcited about nothing. You know, like it's like usually the plot
I was
is
supposed
so
to fill
fucking...
your dark soul with light.
Yeah, literally, that is the best example
Although technically
of
not an
like
anime.
the way. No, I know, but that is like the perfect thing to
Yeah.
describe most animes. How over the top it is. I hate that usually, and so like, and also like the plot and story of most animes is so fucking paper thin that like it just doesn't do anything for me. But like the actual style of it and all the sort of, you know, big bold colors and, you know, action sequences and everything, I really like that. And that's what I really liked about the episode. Like all the action and everything, I thought it looked incredible. I really couldn't care less about the plot.
Fair. I also think, you know, with Disney investing potentially in anime, obviously the other big property that could have some really cool anime stuff happen with it is Marvel. And I think, you know, on that subject of like the craziness that you can do anime in action, you could do some really cool stuff with Marvel characters with that. So, yeah.
I don't think I saw the rest of Visions either.
You both
I
should.
need to go catch up on Visions, Bad Batch. I need to watch Rebels.
Yes, you do. You've got homework. I expect your what you've done in the week to be full next week.
Oh yeah, what have we done in this week?
That is a nice transition. Yeah.
What media has this consumed?
Is that the first time I've
That
not
was an
done the full
attempt.
thing? Like usually I do most of it and someone finishes it off for me. I think that's the first time someone else has done the full thing.
But Alex, I don't think I've heard Alex say it correctly before.
Well, it's intentionally always wrong, Tommy.
Well, I was the first one that started the consumed thing.
Yeah. Tommy, look, you're not a permanent member anymore because you died and then we fired you, so you don't understand. But, like, yeah, Alex did it correctly by doing it incorrectly. I'm just saying that I don't think it's ever not been me starting it. So it's cool. I liked it. I like not having the pressure of coming up with it on the spot. Cool. What have we consumed?
I've been finishing off Brooklyn Nine-Nine finally.
Okay.
And it's been an interesting one for me because I really started not liking the show after they got taken up by NBC. I thought it changed the vibe, and I just thought the jokes weren't as funny. But this one, it being the last season, obviously it's got last season feels, but it's fucking hilarious. It's brilliant. And also, I thought 2020 was a very rough year.
Particularly for police.
Hot topics. Yes.
And they did say they were going to address that.
Police, COVID, and they address all of them. And I've got to say, even though it's a comedy show, and sometimes, you know, you get comedy show and things get heavy, it can kind of ruin the vibe a bit. But they nail it. They make some really great touches on it, and yeah.
I haven't seen the final couple of seasons of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I think the last season I saw was when Jake and Amy got married. But
season 6.
Possibly. But I remember the episode where Terry gets arrested.
Yes.
Is one of the best episodes of a comedy TV show I've ever seen. It's such a good look at racism and how that affects people. So yeah, that doesn't really surprise me. So cool to hear that they kept that up.
Yeah, there's things like that, except obviously 2020 having a complete slew of things. Some of them are like overarching points, but a lot of them they just kind of lightly touch on here and there, and it doesn't become too much.
Yeah.
It's entertaining and still thought-provoking. There's a good balance of it, and that couldn't have been easy considering what 2020 was. So I take my hat off to them for that. Besides that, I've been playing a bit of Final Fantasy 14. 14? It's 14. Yeah, it's 14. I think it's 14.
Damn, you don't even know the number.
I am very
sleep
deprived. I'm sleep deprived from my horrific accident last night.
He
to
tripped over
explain
on
to the
some orange
viewers?
juice and broke his arm.
I say I tripped over the stair, but I might have been lying. I didn't trip over the top step. I actually kept trying to walk up stairs that didn't exist. So
We've been there before. It's fine.
yeah. Yeah, Final Fantasy and Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
By the way, when I leaked your DMs to Alex and Calum, they did agree that you need to learn how to fucking communicate.
I was literally lying here. I couldn't move this arm. It was just kind of like dead like that. And I didn't realize this, but I can't text with my left hand. I was trying to reach the phone and I was just going.
I mean, I guess the positive thing is the misunderstanding showed that I cared, right? Like, that's the one positive thing from it.
Yeah, I was just trying to explain that I went down for a drink, and you ended up thinking I was drunk and like not at home.
Well, who the fuck says, like, if you're just getting a normal drink, I went for a drink?
Went for a
Like,
drink, might have broken my arm was the first message I got about this, and I was like,
anyone, if you say
like-
that to anyone, you'd be hard pressed to find someone that doesn't immediately think, oh, he's drunk.
and has potentially broken his arm in the high street or something. Oh,
Honestly,
I'm gonna have to beep that, aren't I? Just fucking doxed myself in terms of the town I live in.
Honestly, though, after being a father for 3 years, it is nice to think that that is the first assumption of what I was getting up to on a Sunday night, and not something
Well,
boring.
yeah. Well, I mean, the last few times I've spoken to, well, maybe not the last few times, but
Tommy's just
maybe the
been
last
drunk.
few
He's an
times-
alcoholic. It's just
Yeah. Maybe not the last couple of times I've spoken to you, but certainly a few times before that, you were just saying about how you've just been getting through bottles of Prosecco and shit.
No comment.
Have you also been consuming that this week, Tommy?
Huh? What was that? Sorry.
Have you also been consuming bottles of prosecco this week?
No. Look, seriously, guys, this is going on the internet, and I'm a responsible father, so I'd like you to stop insinuating that I'm some kind of alcoholic.
All right.
I mean, if this podcast gets any bigger, you know people are gonna take the piss out of you way more for drinking Strongbow dark fruit than being an alcoholic.
People can take the piss out of me all they want. Sorry, I just drink stuff that tastes nice
So why are you drinking Strongbow?
because it tastes nice.
Does it though?
Strongbow, it's the cider brand, refreshing, crisp,
It's
and
quite
multiple flavors. Please sponsor me. Forget these guys.
Strongbow and
Sponsor me.
Magners together, which are
Send
both
me
popular,
Strongbow.
but Strongbow and Magners are two of the worst ciders I've ever drank.
Magners is horrible.
Yeah.
Fuck Magners.
I mean, I can't really say anything. I'm not much better. I used to drink a lot of Strongbow, but now I'm more of a Thatcher's man, which is arguably worse. 'cause a
No,
lot of
I
people
prefer
say-
Thatchers.
Yeah, but like I've been on nights out before, and I've had like my friends just go, "Oh, Thatcher's. Why are you drinking that? It tastes like piss." And I'm like, well, that's kind of most ciders, really.
I mean, look,
It's
Bulmers.
most alcohol, really.
If you're going for
alcohol,
traditional
yeah.
cider like apple cider, Bulmers is the best. So
I will. I think it's Carlin actually do a very nice apple cider.
I've never actually had Carling, so I had Carling.
Copperberg apple was very good as well.
Well, I was going to say I don't think of apple when I think of Copperberg, but any Copperberg cider is amazing. So
Yeah.
like probably, but usually you're getting like mixed fruit when you get Copperberg. But yeah, I've had Foster's Lager, and I'm not a fan. But
I don't think
mean-
many people like everyone thinks that Australia loves Foster's, but apparently they fucking hate it, which I find hilarious.
I say that Thatcher's is my favorite, but I think that's not correct. I think it's my regular. You know, like if I'm just going to the pub or something and I just
Safe
want a
bet.
drink just quickly, yeah, exactly. I'll just be like, I'll just have a Thatcher's, please. But like, I think my actual favorite is Old Moot.
never had.
Like,
Oh,
yeah.
actually, maybe I have had Old Moot.
Old Moot is so good.
I think I might have had it.
I haven't had it in ages, but my old favourite that was always so hard to come by, Summersby.
Fair enough.
Summersby cider was
Yeah, I don't think
fucking
I've had that
beautiful.
either.
Also, I'm going to be really, really controversial and also praise the French here, although I think technically they're Belgium, but whatever. Or maybe, I don't
Same
know.
thing.
They're somewhere in Europe. They're considered French, but I don't think they actually are. I don't fucking know. LOTR Cider is the best of the best, which is technically not cider, as far as I'm aware. I don't
that
know
was
the
good.
technicalities of it, but that is just the smoothest ever. It's beautiful.
It was very nice.
But also
Yeah,
expensive
they
and
do
hard to come
flavours
by, so yeah.
I've never had a Stella because I don't want to come across as a wife beater.
I think that's
I mean,
specifically Stella Artois
Buddy,
Lager.
once you get insinuated as some kind of child beater for 3 years, you get used to it. Just enjoy it.
I'm good. I don't have that issue. That's a you thing, I'm afraid.
Also, don't enjoy it. Like, accept it, sure, but don't enjoy being considered that, Tommy.
I didn't say I enjoyed it. I just said you get used to it.
I'm pretty sure
Enjoy
you
the
said the
drink.
exact phrase.
Enjoy the drink.
Oh,
That's what I
okay.
meant. Don't enjoy beating wives. Enjoy the drink of beating wives. Yeah.
Enjoy the drink beating wives.
Enjoy the drink of.
I think you've had too many, mate. I think you need to calm down a bit.
I'm basically drinking blackcurrant squash, man. Come on.
We're getting so cancelled. Alex, what have you been consuming?
Well, just to offset Tom's point of playing Final Fantasy, we've been playing a lot of SWTOR recently. Great game, you should go check it out. Star Wars: The Old Republic. Don't have to remember any numbers.
And this guy says that I'm drunk.
I mean, I hopped on it for like 45 minutes today to an hour, and I enjoyed my time. I had a bunch of cartel credits from when I used to be a subscriber, and so I bought an emote so that I could play some jazz for my play some jizz for my boys.
Some jizz, yeah.
Yeah.
Filled their ears with jizz.
Other than that, I've been doing another rewatch of Parks and Recreation. I fucking love that show so much. It like
some of my best work.
I've seen like, I mean, I saw it once all the way through, and then I went through a phase of just consistently watching clips of it again, and so I've seen most of it quite a few times, and it still just makes me laugh. Just every single like joke that gets put out there. It's really good. If you haven't seen it, I'd recommend going and watch it. And lastly, I haven't played a ton of it, but I started the new Pokemon Arceus. And anyone that likes Pokemon, or is interested in the Pokemon games, they probably would have kind of seen a lot of division surrounding this game, because they've kind of taken the leap towards different game mechanics and changing the setting up quite a lot. And there have been a few people that say what they've got is good, but it feels like it's a prototype. So, it feels like it's almost like a, what's it called?
Alpha, beta.
No, like a group. Like when you basically put it out there and like people,
Playtest?
Yeah, kind of. Feels kind of like a play test. So they've put it out there to see what people think of the new features and everything. And they're like, okay, well, we needed to get a game out anyway because we've only had like 3 in the past year. So
sorry, for a moment there, I thought you meant 3 Pokemon games in the last year. I was like, oh, bloody hell, that's so few.
yeah,
Realize you mean 3 Nintendo games.
No, I mean Pokemon games.
And 3 Pokemon games a year is considered a low amount, is it?
I was making a joke.
Oh, okay. Fucking hell.
Because I mean, there's been like Pokemon New Diamond and Pearl or whatever. There's been Pokemon Unite. Pokemon Unite.
Did the Pokemon photography game come out last year?
Something like that.
Which is a Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, there's been a few anyway. So yeah, they were like, we just need to push something out there, and then we'll, just work on the next game and just put all the stuff people want in there instead. And again, it's not a bad game. Like, in fact, the mechanics I actually enjoy. Like, for example, the way you catch Pokemon has somewhat changed. So obviously beforehand, you'd have to start battle with them, and then go over to your Pokeballs, throw a Pokeball at them, or if they escape, then you sort of take their health down a bit and then throw a Pokeball at them. And that is still in the game. However, before you do any of that, because it's an open world game, you can run around the map and you can actually aim and throw Pokeballs at them without having to start a battle, which I think is pretty damn cool. It actually gives a feel of running up to something and just lobbing a ball at it, instead of maybe having to beat it up first. And also the setting, I think, is really unique. It's very strange, very strange. I can't even begin to describe it. It's like they've kind of time traveled back to a weird, like, Japanese village, like an anime village.
Like Dynasty times.
Yeah, but also, like, I think it may also just be set in... I don't know when it's set. It's so strange. I genuinely can't work it out.
So what you're saying is that it's like a combination of more historical eras and modern eras at the same time.
Kind of.
You're about to say
sounds
Final
a lot
Fantasy
like hit
14.
game Final Fantasy 14.
I can't remember what the term is, but there's like a very specific anime term, like it's like isekai or something, where it's like someone from our world getting sucked into like a game world or something, like that type of thing. It's very much like that. It's so difficult to describe, but it's interesting. I'm curious to play more and to find out where I'm actually playing in and when, what I'm playing. but yeah, I'd say give it a go. You might like it.
Well, I, for one, I'm not going to give it a go.
Me
Because I
neither.
don't own a Nintendo Switch. But
I just don't want to. Too busy playing Final Fantasy. Naturally. You guys should get it.
no thanks. I like good MMOs like Star Wars: The Old Republic with its new update.
Outdate? Yeah, you're right, it is.
Update Legacy of the Sith?
Yep.
I was going for Knights of the Eternal Throne, and I was like, no, that was like 3 or 4 years ago. It's coming in like 2 weeks.
I think it comes on the 15th.
Then potentially coming out in a week.
I'll come tomorrow when I get home from work and play Final Fantasy.
That's concerning. You should see a doctor about that. What have I been consuming in the week? I hear you both not ask, because, appreciate you including me in this segment.
Thanks for watching the Higgledy podcast.
You just started talking about playing SWTOR.
Yeah.
We needed to ask.
I said that in rebuttal to his thing.
Well, we
It's
left
not-
such a big silence in between that I thought.
I was waiting for one of you to
playing.
address me. Like,
Oh,
it's fine.
What have
What
you
I've been
been
consuming is
consuming
Sneak
today?
Energy.
What have you been consuming this week? Meat?
Chicken is the meat I've been consuming this past week. I have called my mother every night to thank her for the chicken tonight.
Good.
What have I been consuming? Not a lot. Again, I've not had a lot of time to play video games because I've been busy prepping stuff for you fuckers. D&D and Star Wars wise. We ran the second session 0 for Star Wars, which was cool. Everything worked. Samo seemed to enjoy it. So that will soon be a thing when Tommy's got his own place. We'll start streaming that, which is going to be cool.
TM.
I've been consuming a lot of Star Wars sound effects to add to my library and sending some of them to Alex, including what very much sounded like a hut being sucked off post-nut. It's the perfect description of it. Am I wrong, Alex?
It really is. It's brilliant.
Which is from Star Wars: The Old Republic, great MMO. But what I am looking forward to consuming as soon as we finish this podcast is Sifu comes out tomorrow, but I bought the deluxe edition, which gives me early access today. I've been looking forward to Sifu for a very long time, so I'm incredibly hyped for that. So that's what I'm going to consume imminently.
Is that the game that is made by the Absolver?
Yes.
Right.
Also, other thing I've consumed, Book of Boba Fett episode 1, because I started watching it with my mum because she was like, oh, there's this new Star Wars show that I want to watch, and I was like, okay, cool. And she was like, do you want to watch it with me? And I was like, well, I've already seen it all so far. And she's like, oh, will I understand any of it on my own? I went, maybe not. I'm happy to rewatch it if you want me to. And she was like, okay. So I'm watching that with my mum now.
To be fair, I'm curious to see how you feel about the whole show after watching it again.
I think I enjoyed the humor a bit more in episode 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Episode 1, part of me disliked it a little bit more on a second rewatch because it isn't as new, I guess. But part of me liked it a bit more.
I think when you get that newness out of the way, you can really see how you feel about something.
Which is why with the Star Wars movies, I pretty much always made a habit of seeing them twice before really thinking about it too much. And I still haven't seen Rise of Skywalker a second time. So as I've said to you guys, I'm probably going to rewatch the entirety of the sequel trilogy at some point. And maybe we'll do a Roll for Insight on the sequel trilogy of Star Wars and how great elements of The Last Jedi are. Come at me, internet bros.
You're starting a fight.
Clickbait will get us views.
Anything for views, yeah.
There was an idea I had actually because I started watching Batman and Robin again last night.
That's weird.
What? Watching Batman and Robin?
Yeah, it's weird for a multitude of reasons. Anyone watching it's weird, but it's particularly weird for you because it sounds like you've taken a break from watching the Percy Jackson films on repeat.
No. I was rewatching it because I just saw like a clip of it and I was like, God, that movie's so bad. Like it's just so funny. And also,
unlike the Percy Jackson films,
I'm not even gonna respond.
A couple more weeks and he'll break. We're nearly there.
There was a moment in Batman and Robin that was like, I would love to go back and watch all of the different Batman films with you guys leading up to the Batman, just to like, just to have a laugh, basically, because there are so many moments in the film where I'm just like,
sounds like you're pitching Caravan of Garbage to me right now. our off-brand British version of Caravan of Garbage.
I mean, possibly it maybe, but I think it would be fun. Like there's a moment where Poison Ivy becomes Poison Ivy, and she goes on this long rant about being Mother Nature and protecting the plants and everything. Then she immediately burns a laboratory down, which has a bunch of plants in, and I was like, that's just so funny. Like, I wanna see those moments with you guys. I think that'll be funny. And also just Mr. Freeze saying like a cold-related pun in every sentence. It's literally like I was watching it and I was like, he literally says something to do about cold every sentence.
Yeah. It's a fantastic movie.
I would be up for watching them. But we'd have to watch them quickly because the Batman comes out next month.
Oh, fuck, it doesn't
Late
it?
March, but next month. So I'm currently in my phase of avoiding all marketing to do with it because I don't want to know anything anymore.
Yeah, I've seen what I need to see. I'm hyped.
I've seen the first trailer at least 100 times and the second
Yeah.
trailer probably like 50 times. So, yeah.
And I've listened to the song.
I am pretty sure when that first trailer, that like teaser thing that was consisting of like a third of what they'd shot so far because they hadn't shot the whole movie at that point, it was the DC Fandom 2020, I think. I'm pretty sure I watched that trailer every single day, at least once a day, for like 2 weeks. So that's at least 14 times I've watched it then and there. It was so good and so fucking hype. I'm so looking forward to that film.
I saw like a mini trailer that they put out the other day, and there was just this one shot of him like standing there just looking angry with like this particular type of lighting, and I was like, oh my god, that looks so fucking good. Like, I cannot wait to see him in action.
Yeah, and also like it's great because it looks like visually looks great, aesthetically looks great. The style of film that they're trying to do with Batman of being like a detective story is something I've wanted to do with Batman for so long. And also just like obviously Robert Pattinson because I've watched too much of Mr. Sunday movies. Robert Pattinson's fucking phenomenal as an actor. Zoe Kravitz is great. Colin Farrell's great. Andy Serkis is great. So like the cast is fantastic. God, I'm forgetting his name. The guy who's playing Gordon. What is his name? Jeremy Wright, I think. I'm blanking on it. I'm pretty sure Jeremy Wright. I'm going to Google that though because I don't want to miscredit. But like the entire cast that they've announced so far is phenomenal. And then completely blanking.
Boy's pretty good too.
It's not Jeremy Wright. What is his name? Jeffrey Wright. That's it. Yeah, Jeffrey Wright. Jeffrey Wright and the guy who's playing Paul Dano, who's playing the Riddler.
Boy, yeah.
Is so like the cast is phenomenal, but also just like Matt Reeves as a director is like that sneaky director where unironically 2 of my favorite post-apocalyptic films of all time are Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War of the Planet of the Apes. They are fucking phenomenal. So him helming the Batman is just like so fucking good to me. That's all I have to say on that.
We'll see. I mean, Tom and I have still got to do the Piston Cup.
You do.
You know what? I'm going to message you straight after this podcast, and we're going to lock down a date for when we're going to do this.
Well, like I said, as soon as I get a flat and get my desk up, actually, get my proper mic up and invest in a decent camera. So I don't always look like a travel vlog.
So 6 months from now, minimum.
Yep. Yep.
Tell you what, I will make a sacrifice if you want, Tommy. First of all, you can have my microphone, my spare one, assuming that my mixer doesn't break again, which is possible.
You've gone through a lot of mixers. Is that a safe idea?
This one's lasted quite a while.
Exactly. You don't have a lot of time left.
Well, the last one lasted 6 months, and this is, I think, 5 months at the moment. So
okay,
we're getting there. Also, they did reckon they'd finally fixed it because they spent like the first 3 mixes going, we don't know what the problem is. And then when the 4th one broke, they went, we've established what the problem is, and we're sending this report to the head office. Also, if it does break, I know what I'm replacing it with because the mixer company, Beacon, who is made from the original developers of the Go XLR, have finally released their mixers. So, if that one does break again, I'll just replace it with a better one. Anyways, you can have my old microphone, though, which is as good as this one, more or less. And then I can bring my camera over, so you can't stall anymore. You just need your flat. And
okay,
you don't even need a desk. We can just force Alex to play without a desk.
What? So he doesn't have a handicap?
Yeah, exactly.
I meant more for
no.
the quality of having a desk and actually having a decent setup.
Yeah, but we don't have to wait.
everything,
We don't have to wait for that. I'm saying, like, if that's the
No, I've
delaying
got a
factor is
desk.
you
I
getting a
have
desk.
a desk. I just need somewhere to put it.
Have you
That's
tried?
all.
Have you tried owning a flat?
That's a pretty fucked up thing to say to me.
Have you tried having a home?
Not for a year, no. A very long year. But no. Couple of weeks, hopefully, and we will have the Piston Cup, and I will not be playing all Borderlands because I'm going to kick your ass. I'll be paying Calum £50 instead.
I don't believe you. I think you're going to be playing the whole of Borderlands.
The thing is, Tommy, what you got to bear in mind is we are a YouTube channel now. We're a professional YouTube channel with not high-profile sponsors, but we're trying to get them, and therefore you got to think about the content. And what's the more content? Giving Calum £50, which you'd have to film. You can't do it on PayPal. You'd have to meet up with him in person and give him £50, which would be a single video, or us playing for the entirety of the Borderlands series, including Tales from the Borderlands and the pre-sequel and the Tiny Tina Adventure
okay,
ones.
I'll happily play Tales, but let me interject. It's
on
not about
stream
the
and then uploading the VODs. That would be so much more content.
Okay, you make a good point, but I'm going to interject that it isn't necessarily the destination of getting past the Piston Cup and me losing and then having to play all the Borderlands. It's the Piston Cup itself. And the best thing you want to do if you want to get views is you need to destroy mine and Alex's friendship with drama. Okay? You need to reality TV this shit.
Well, no, I don't need to do that. What needs to happen is whatever people want to happen more with the Piston Cup, that has to be the thing that doesn't happen, and then whoever causes that is then the heel, and we make this basically like wrestling drama. So if people want us to play Borderlands, then Tommy has to win, but then Tommy's the heel, and you know, and then we force him to play Borderlands somewhere down the line anyways as a redemption arc. So
I'm gonna make a diss track on you.
Oh.
I mean, you saw
you and I get very competitive when it comes to rap, so
exactly.
yeah, okay.
You saw what we're both capable of when we played Jackbox the other day. We're legendary.
Two titans.
Game. Exactly.
You guys played Jackbox and didn't invite me?
I think we did.
Yeah. I can't remember.
I've never had an invite to play Jackbox from you two.
Oh, it was in Thick Thighs. It was in Thick Thighs.
Oh, cool. The Discord server that I'm... Cool, that's fine.
Oh,
are you not in it?
No!
I didn't know.
I've never been in it.
Oh, well.
It's fine. It's fine. I played Jackbox without you guys recently as well, for my friend's birthday, so it's whatever. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Cool new friends. Mr. International.
Actually, it was a British friend, so...
Mr. Worldwide.
Fucking don't care.
But I also played stuff with some American friends recently, like Codenames, so, you know.
Imagine having friends, eh?
I'd rather have enemies than friends.
Alex doesn't really need any kind of social life because he's got Percy Jackson.
I'd rather have enemies than friends because you keep your friends close and your enemies closer, and it's quite cold in my flat, so, you know, body heat.
There was a lot of cuddling in that 3 months.
First of all, I'm pretty sure you lived with me for like 4 months, but, you know, it's fine.
I have no idea. I get no concept of time
September,
anymore.
October, November, December. Yeah, 4 months.
4 months.
Yeah, third of a year. Never paid
There's a
me
lot of
rent.
cuddling in that 4 months.
Never paid me rent. It's a free country. It's not a rent-free country.
You're in.
Are we done? I feel like we're done. I feel like we fizzled out and just talked the shit for like the last 10 minutes. Well, really, we've talked the shit for the last 2.5 hours, haven't we? Yeah, it's kind of the podcast. One thing I'm going to insert a joke real quick that I came up with earlier, but someone else was talking and I didn't want to interject, and so I didn't use it, and then I forgot about it, and then I just remembered it. Ahsoka's appearance in Book of Boba Fett and Ahsoka's appearance in The Mandalorian and wherever she goes next, it's all a bit higgledy-piggledy, isn't it? And that's where we end it. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.